Yeah, I'm looking on mine too. What do you look on? YouTube or Facebook? Okay, it's on. Thank you. Appreciate you. Hi, Greg. I didn't see you sneak in over there. I'm all right. How about you?
Air conditioner's working.
Oh my gosh, it was so cold in here yesterday. Like you hate to complain because it's hot, cold, but it was so cold yesterday. We're alive. Where's Chris at?
That's what he just said.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh. Oh, okay. I was on the phone with him. Are you texting him? All right, well. Yes.
Not for you, dude. Jeez.
Okay, you guys ready? Yes? Good evening. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall, and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 6, 2026. Mayor Impreveduto?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Bontempo?
Here.
Mr. Romano?
Here.
Mr. Vanderham?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. If everyone could please rise for the national anthem.
Pledge of Allegiance. It's not baseball. Who's singing? Not me, for sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence, please, for the men and women in uniform that keep us safe at home and abroad. Thank you.
Yeah, why don't we, guys, we're going to give it a minute or two for our administrator, and then we'll just get rolling without him if we need to.
I did. I didn't hear back from him yet.
Already down 3-0, so. Yeah. Back to back to back. First inning. Is he in the staff room there?
No.
He's not in there.
No. What would he be doing there? Okay, all right, bye. He's on his way down. He was on a phone call. He couldn't.
So really quick, before we go to public comments on agenda items only, one thing I want to make sure the public is aware of, I've had multiple conversations with the board president, Board of Education president, and the superintendent. While they have no intention of including courtesy busing for the township going forward, they are, and they have asked me to convey to the audience, they are moving to a subscription model. They're proactively going down that road to ensure that parents that are impacted by the elimination of courtesy busing have a busing option to get to the schools. And so with that, any questions related to the Board of Education, board practices, board policy, I would encourage you to go to a board meeting or reach out to the board directly. That's their position. This is what they're doing, and they have offered to explain it in greater detail should people ask. So I wanted to make sure we got that out. And we can move now to public comment on agenda items only. Mr. Triskita.
Patrick Triskita, 56 Line Road. I'm very pleased and very happy to support the resolution for the $1 million grant and matching funds for the horn antenna. I think it will go a long way. If we get the grant from the New Jersey Historical Trust, it'll go a long way in restoring the Homedale horn antenna and making that park into a great national historic landmark. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Lupi.
Good evening, everyone. Lance Lupi, Line Road. First, just on the topic of agenda, so I hope this is allowable, not in my public comment, but just feedback on agenda items, right? So I've attended a couple of Aberdeen Township meetings due to my previous statements about the snow. They do a really good job. Before the agenda items are voted on, they give a summary of every one of them to tell the public what they are, what they mean, a nice little synopsis of everything. So it gives everyone a little bit more information so they can probably ask better questions. Okay? They also have a really good audio system for the comments, public comments, and the team. So it really picks up on the online. So just feedback. Not really, I guess just a comment, something. I kind of picked these things out. Emergency carpet replacement for, looks like a resident. I don't really understand what that is. Fair share housing expenses. Not a lot of money, but just curious about that. Almost $24,000 for ambulance lights. I'm assuming that's for our new ambulance that we're purchasing. And some clarification on the ambulance, the $375,000 I think it is. They say it's not going to be in place for 2 more years, so we're buying a 2025 ambulance shell, I guess, and it'll be put in place in 2027. So at that point, on the first year of service, it'll be technically 3 years old, which is, I think, part of the argument of why we needed the $375,000 ambulance was because it was 10 years old, but it's really only 8 years old, right? So just making sure that I'm right on that. Please correct me where I'm wrong. Then I see we're getting an $8,000 grant for a charging station. If that's not correct, please correct me. Is that to pay for, I'm assuming that's to pay to install an electric charger for the new vehicles that we purchased or are in the process of purchasing. And I'm curious what the actual cost of the charging station installation is on top of the $8,000 grant that we're either applying for or received. I'm not sure if I misread. Seems as we're also looking to get some money in a grant for shared services with Neptune. So clarity on that, because the way I read it, maybe again, wherever I'm wrong, correct me.
I'm taking the notes and then we'll...
Not afraid to be wrong.
No, I'm taking notes and we'll hit them all.
That's fine. But it seems to imply that we can't afford it, and that's why we're applying for the grant. But a couple months ago, it seems like we went forward with this grant. So again, I'm sure I'm misreading something, so please correct me. $50,000 bond for
Safe Streets.
Safe Streets.
Yep.
Term of that loan or that floating of that bond, I'm guessing maybe it's 5 years. I hope it's not 30 for something that has a useful life of 20, as is stated in the meeting agenda item. And then $981,000 bond for the purchase of a house. that I'm still a little confused about. The house is valued at $1.03 million. It says $981,000 bond, $206,000 for improvements. So are we taking a loan out for $981 plus 206, or $981? We're purchasing the home for $981 less 206. That's it. Thank you.
Got it. Chris, so I want to make sure I get it right. So Chris, we'll start with the carpet.
That's fair share housing, so that's for somebody who is in a home that is we're allowed to make improvements to. If there is emergencies, like for the affordable housing, it's part of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay.
So they can put in for improvements like that. So it's not money that's from the taxpayers, that's money from developers.
Got it. So, Lance, if I miss one of these things, just, okay. Ambulance lights, and then, so one is the cost of the ambulance lights, and then the ambulance itself.
I would have to look at the ambulance lights one. I do not have much information on that right now, so I can't give you an answer to that. I can give you an answer to the ambulance. Right now, all ambulances, fire trucks are taking multiple years to build. Back 8 years ago, probably not. Okay, but with things changing and the needs changing, an ambulance could take up to 2 years to be built, and a fire truck could take up to 4 to 5 years to be built. So I'm assuming that the ambulance from 8 years ago is 8 years old, because back then it wasn't that hard to get an ambulance. But now it would take a few years. I don't know if it's going to be. It's not going to affect anything, because again, it's covered under the warranties that we get from the dealers. So.
Okay. The charging station grant for $8,000. I think the question was, what's the cost of putting this in, and does this go to our?
So this was this is towards the electric cars. It's going to allow us to build out the charging station. Actually, the cost that we got was less than the $8,000. So
the cost will be covered in the grant.
Yeah, significantly covered with that. These are home kind of chargers. These aren't. This isn't the kind of charger that you put on for for the public. This is for just those vehicles we're purchasing, and it will make it easier for us to actually charge them ourselves right here in the back.
Okay. The Neptune shared services, I think there was probably a misunderstanding of how that was.
Yeah, so the shared services for Neptune City, that is a LEAP grant. LEAP grants is something that's given to towns who are looking for money to help them go into a shared service. It is the lead agency is going to get the money, the lead agency being Neptune City. We don't get any money out of this one. We are getting paid by them. It's part of that shared service. This is for them. They have some old equipment, and I mean, they're so old they were using like a Google platform and stuff. So Jason went in and analyzed the entire system, and this is what they need, and it's going to help them so they don't have to bond for all that equipment.
So just to clarify, this grant, we're going to get paid from Neptune, but we have to approve the grant in order for that to happen.
No, we get
Okay.
paid by Neptune, no matter what.
No matter
So
what.
they just need a partner, right? So we're their partner. So
Got it.
we need to sign off as their partner. There's no money coming to us and no money leaving us. The biggest thing right now is for you guys to vote for it and me to sign a piece of paper.
Got it. Safe Streets, the term on the bond, the 50K bond. Do you have that off the top of your head?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I don't see it being more than 5 years. We probably pay that back even faster than that.
And the bond, I think it was for Addie's house, is what Lance was referencing.
So
the 981.
we're only bonding the 981. The other one comes out of down payment. That's what we do for bonds. We have to put out a portion of it. It's just like any other loan, down payment, and then we go ahead and we get the rest of the bond if and when it is approved.
Okay. All right. Lance, I think we owe you something on the ambulance lights. Otherwise, that all makes sense? Well, yeah.
So, is the 981 the bond?
981's the bond.
Okay, because there's a mention of 206 for improvements. So are we only paying 765 for the house?
Yeah,
and
so we're
206?
paying a full million 30,000 for the house.
Right.
That's what if approved, it would be for $1 million. But part of it has to be for we have the cost of the down payment plus the cost of any kind of soft costs we might have, the actual getting of the bond, stuff like that. It all gets covered under that, but we have a portion of it that we take out of our funds that is cash, and then we pay for it. And ultimately, this will be paid back because it's open space. We will be paid back out of the open space tax, not out of the actual municipal tax that we raise.
30 year?
That one would be 30 to 40, depending on what's the best bond we can get for it at that point in time. Because it's property, you can do it up to 40 years.
And we expect to pay it off far faster than that.
But again, why not get the lower cost of it at this point? Plus, so that's why we're looking at it that way.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the overage.
I'll find out about the ambulance though. So.
Hi, good evening, Sarah Cho for Putnam Court. I was listening in while I was driving, so I wanted to make sure that I heard correctly, but courtesy busing is not on the agenda today, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any questions regarding it, you should go to a Board of Ed meeting and speak to them.
No,
about it. There's nothing I
I'll
can-
raise the comments later, thank
Sure.
you. For the Addy House, which,
Yes.
when you first posted
Actually,
on.
excuse me, if I could just interject, that's a bond, that's a hearing on ordinance, so there's going to be a special public comment period right after the consent
Yeah,
agenda.
I'm not talking about the courtesy busing now, I'm talking about
No,
the
but
Addy
that's-
House.
I'm aware.
No, Addie's house is, that's what he's saying.
So-
When
so-
we have a special hearing on that, you can comment on
There will
Addie's
be a
house.
public comment
Aren't
in
we-
just a
Aren't
moment.
we talking about the purchase later? Okay,
So
all right.
You'll be back up in a minute, that's all we're saying.
Okay, that's totally
Thank
fine,
you.
thank you.
Anyone else on agenda items only? All right, moving on. Do I have a motion for the consent
Moved.
agenda? Okay, got a second?
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto?
Yes.
Okay. The consent agenda items, resolutions 2026-89 through 2026-98 have been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is hearing on bond ordinance 2026-11, which is providing for improvements to various township roads by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $300,000 therefore, including a $250,000 grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation in connection with the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program, and authorizing the issuance of $50,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
So just before we get into the public hearing, I want to make sure and before we vote, I want to make sure everyone understands what this is. And Chris, by all means, jump in when I get something incorrect. But this was a grant that was originally procured in 2021, I believe, in conjunction with many other towns. I think it was a consortium of towns to pull it in, and the county. And so the purpose of it is to, frankly, do an overall sort of review and a mapping and a prioritization to improve safety in our streets, which would include or could include sidewalks and ADA compliance and paving and all things of that nature. So in order to get the $250,000 grant, we had to bond for $50K to do the complete project. Again, this has been going on for a number of years now, and we have an opportunity to move forward, and so that's the purpose of what we're doing here. Anybody have anything to say about 2026-11? Mr. Weisfeld.
Hey guys, Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside Lane, Homedale, New Jersey. Again, full disclosure, I really don't want to be here. You know, I wish we weren't dealing with this stuff. And frankly, I just got gutted, and this is about this, because I just saw my dad for the first time in 5 months to do my usual play from the move back to Homedale. And literally the whole lunch was him very strongly wanting me to put my house up for sale right now. I won't bore you with that conversation because a little bit's old man stuff. Everything, no offense if he's watching. That was unexpected. So anyway, the point being, and I'm only asking this because I swear not all this makes sense to me. I'd like more time on a Saturday and everything else. Will this have any impact? And I feel like I'm kind of asking for other people. Will this have any impact on helping the Vonage stuff along as far as future phases and things like that? Because to me, from the things I'm hearing and all that stuff, apparently all of this stuff is connected, and I just don't really know. My blood sugar's pretty low now anyway, so it's just one of those, I want to throw it out there because in reality, I feel like you guys are never in a good spot. You know, it's always like every one of you, and it's not a dig at anyone. This is really one of those, just like no matter what happens. I mean, this is from 2021. This is supposed to be a good thing.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, you know, I mean, well,
Look, I hadn't heard that Vonage rumor, but it has nothing to do with Vonage. Like that's all I can tell you. I don't even, I can't even conceive of that connection, to be frank.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, Chris, am I wrong? Does this have something to do with Vonage? I certainly
no,
didn't
no,
know
not
that it
in the
did.
direct, but in the sense of that'll speed other things along and whatnot. And
No,
I mean,
this-
it's just,
this is-
I don't know.
This is identifying unsafe areas and stuff. This is like, all right, this is an area where we think, okay, we need more crosswalks. It involves us, the county, multiple towns. Highlands, I believe, was one of the other towns involved in this. We're supposed to. I mean, there was a back in 2021. We have a resolution that we're going to make the routes safe, and this is allowing. It's like getting us a plan. And then hopefully we can go for more federal grants to actually do some of the stuff that they're saying. That's basically what it comes down to. But it's you know, it's a long drawn out process because you got to analyze everything. So it has nothing directly. Actually, I don't even think Vonage wasn't even a thought when this was done. So I don't know if that was even in the grant. That couldn't have been in the grant application at the time.
Yeah, but also Vonage wasn't a thought when of the force main with. I'm saying that wrong. Beltworks. I'm not saying that in anything bad because I know there's connections and things like that. And again, I'm just. That was not a good lunch, late lunch. Anyway, the point being is that it doesn't make sense. Why? Like again, 2021. Like why does this stuff take so long? Like why couldn't have? And I just I just feel like we do things and then the next day it's like wait, this happened or that happened. Then you guys are getting attacked. More things happen, and then everybody gets all pissy. When in reality, we're all just. I think we're all just trying to do the right thing. Just we have different executions.
Yeah, Matt, I don't know what to say to that. It comes with the job, I guess.
Gladly.
So yeah.
BTC, no, thank you. You guys could deal with that.
Yeah. So I mean, but I don't. But I appreciate that. I don't feel attacked, thankfully. So, yeah, no, I don't know. It's clearly a pretty weird rumor. I don't have anything to say about it other than that's a pretty weird rumor, and in a million years would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah. Okay. And if it's just that, awesome. If not, then. Well, whatever. We'll see what happens. So, anyway, I'm sure I'll be back up here for something. But otherwise, thanks, guys.
All right. Anybody else on 2026-11, the Safe Streets? Mr. Loopy.
Lance Loopy Line Road. I only thought of this as he was asking that question, actually, so I'm glad. Does this? I brought up a couple weeks ago, or one of the last meetings, like crosswalks and things like that. So does this cover some of that, or?
It could. I mean, that's part of what the mapping is going to be. Yes.
Okay. So so it's not even. We're just applying for the money, and then we're going to figure it out.
And that's what helps us. That's going to establish the mapping and the plan and everything that goes with it. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And your crosswalks are actually, I already ordered those to be done when they do the Bethany Road. So the one you asked about, they're gonna be painting the ones off of Bethany.
Isn't that not part of that?
It's not part of it, but this is a separate situation. I'm just letting you,
That's great.
reminding
I
you.
appreciate
So,
it. Thank
okay.
Sarah Cho, 4 Putnam Court.
Yeah.
I don't understand what this is about. Can you explain it in layman terms? Because I don't understand what this, section 4, whatever it is. What is this contemplating?
This is an overall. It's going to help fund an overall strategic review of all of the streets and crosswalks and intersections in town to find ways to improve public safety on those could be crosswalks, could be better paving and better mapping, prioritization of when these repairs come in. Chris, what am I forgetting in the midst of all that?
No, I think you got it. You're pretty on it. Again, this is something that was so the $250,000 part we've already been awarded by the federal government. This is a federal grant. It was applied for 2021. Actually, it was in the paper. Homedale got this grant. It took till this year to the federal government does work pretty slowly, and they said, oh, by the way, now you have to go out to bid for an engineer, and we need you to bond for your $50,000, and we're in 2026 now. So we went ahead and we did all the stuff we're supposed to do besides the bond, but these kind of grants, you need to show that you're going to do something. Send them report in, and then when the time comes that they have grants now to implement it, maybe putting in new crosswalks, paying for some road improvements, safety improvements, and the federal government wants to pay for it, they need to have that report for them before they'll give you any more money.
Okay, so in 2021, the grant was given by the federal government?
It was
Meaning
awarded.
cash?
It was
Okay,
awarded. You don't get
okay.
cash. No,
Okay.
the federal government never gives you cash.
Yep.
It's so they're awarding the grant for us.
Okay.
So we've been awarded the grant. We haven't accessed the grant yet because we haven't gotten to that yet. The county is involved. They're the lead agency on this. We're one of the sub agencies off of it.
Okay, and I guess how does a bid process work?
Well, that's a whole different world. But when you bid something out under public purchasing, you can't buy anything over $50,000. Basically, I'm giving you the rounded number without going out to public bid for that. So it has to be publicly bid. Depending on what it is, you bid that out, and then people have an opportunity, or companies have an opportunity to bid that. So for this one, we actually had to go out to bid because we weren't allowed to use any specific engineers we had on staff. Because it was a federal grant, they made us bid it out, and the lowest bidder came in, and that's how they were assigned it.
Okay, so you're awarded in 2021. It's been 5 years. What was the reason for the delay, and why is it precipitated now to be on the docket now?
I have no idea why it was delayed, but the county didn't even get their stuff underway till this year. So it's been delayed. We have to go by whatever everybody else in this grant or in this program actually did. And the county, now they're all ahead of us because we actually delayed ours even more. But I came into this kind of late in the game.
Okay.
But we had quite a few grants like that I pushed forward this year that we were awarded. And understanding that, in in government, especially with the federal government, if you accept a grant and then you actually don't use it, you might as well forget other grants for many years. You'll never see another grant. That's how the federal government works. You've wasted the money. They put it aside for you. They didn't give it to somebody else, and then we have to explain why we didn't use it. So we're trying to correct that.
Explanation?
Yeah,
I guess I'm directing
well, we're
this
fine.
to
We're
the
fine
chief
now.
Well, if
Yeah.
there's no issue if we pass the bond.
Yeah,
If we
on the
pass
bond, there's no
If
issue.
we
If we-
don't,
yeah,
we're
then
going to have
we'll
a difficult time getting any federal grants going
Yeah.
forward.
And what will the bond amount be?
$50,000.
50,000?
We got $250 for 50. So they gave us
Okay.
$250.
So 300,000
It's a $300,000
is
total.
going to be
total,
used
yes.
towards
The entire
safety-
project.
Yes, yes.
safety
Yep.
and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay.
The plan to submit to the federal government.
Okay. And that 50,000 bond, I mean, like, it would have been smart to do this in 2021 because
It's not a matter of
everything-
smart or not, right?
No,
We know that. It's not a matter of smart or not. Chris just said it. It's really a matter of
I
when
just
the
want to know
federal
what the
government comes
delay.
to it.
I just want to know what the delay was because everything has gone up 30%.
Yeah.
In materials. 300,000 is like a drop in the bucket. So, I think this goes towards transparency and working quickly. If you had a grant in 2021 awarded, then that's something that, okay.
Yeah, we
Well,
couldn't
explain.
we couldn't have used that grant until they were ready to let us use it.
Which
So
was-
the county didn't even start working on this till the end of last year. So they awarded it, but if they don't start their end of it, we wouldn't have been able to use it anyway.
So, because I'm very uneducated when it comes to the political system, who in the county are you referring to? Like, what is the
It would be
department?
the planning department.
The planning department?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, is that comprised of like 5 people, or is it?
That's I don't. I
Is
have
that something
no,
you guys know?
N-
Because
we-
it's something where, is that something where the local government could then egg on the county planning board to say, hey, listen, we'd love to, do this since we have the money awarded. Is that something that?
Is that a question? I don't.
Yeah, it's a question. It's a
No.
question. Is there a communication with the Township Committee of Homedale and the Monmouth County Planning Board? What are the lines of communication?
I don't have any lines of communication with the Monmouth County Planning Board, Chris. I don't know if you do at all or for any reason
It's
you do.
not. It's the planning department. I'm not really sure it's
Planning
actually
department.
the planning
Okay.
board
Yeah.
itself.
Okay. Well,
I mean, they're public employees just like anybody else. I don't know. Again, I don't know why it was delayed. Again, this is 2021. I don't know how many people were even here in 2021 that could answer that even what was the catalyst for this. When it comes to the the committee, because
I mean-
again, we're kind of walking from behind here. I didn't know what this was about until recently.
Okay,
So.
Chris, I'm not necessarily trying to say that you were the reason
Oh,
why
no,
it's a
I'm
delay.
not worried about that.
Yeah,
I just,
I
you know.
would like to know, because I am an uneducated citizen, is who has a direct stream of communication with the planning board of the county? Because if
What? I'm sorry.
who's speaking with the county on these issues?
Look, you know what, I
Is it-
think this,
If there's
if you
no
need to get
answer,
edu-
if
you
there's
need-
no answer, there's no answer.
If you need to get educated on this and the process and what happens.
love to
we
hear
can-
from
we
you,
can pull-
Mayor.
We can pull you aside and we can have a conversation about it. This is a public hearing on whether or not we should be pushing this through. We're doing the public hearing. You're asking a lot of questions. The questions are being answered, and you don't seem to be accepting the answers. The fact of the matter
My
is,
question is
the
not
grant
being
was put in
answered.
2021.
My question is not answered.
be-
If there's no one on this township committee who actually knows what's going on and speaking
But that's
with
not a
the-
correct statement. Excuse me. That's not a
Okay.
correct statement.
Okay, then my simple question is, who is in charge on this township committee to speak with the planning board of the county? Who is in charge?
Well, you're not
If
even,
there's no
you're not
one
even
in
using the right terminology. It's not a planning board, it's a planning department. And so when Chris got here, he's the one that initiated and pushed other grants through that were delayed. And so he did so by engaging with the people he needed to do that with to get it moving forward. This thing stalled for a number of years. I shouldn't even say stalled. This thing sat with the county until they were ready to activate and move forward with it. Homedale, along with many other Monmouth County towns, well, Homedale didn't pass the grant yet, the bond to do this yet. Hopefully we will tonight. Many other towns passed it already. If we don't pass it tonight, we're going to lose the opportunity to do this, and we're not going to get any more federal grants.
Well, seems like something good to pass.
I would think so.
Yeah, but I mean, seems like there's a whole lot of non-communication and delay.
A lot of
That's
that's
all-
my job now. And again,
When did you start, Chris?
April. Okay, so
You've been here
so
less than a year.
Yes, in a year. So
Okay.
So you got to give me time to get this stuff. You know,
I'm not blaming you,
Yeah,
Chris.
I'm not saying you're blaming me, but I can't blame anybody on the committee either. I mean, again, my job is to work for them. What my predecessors did, I can't speak for. What we're trying to do now is clean up whatever was there and move forward in the best way possible.
Okay.
And that's what I'm here to do. If I can find more information out about what happened originally, I will. I went through a lot with the guy at the county. 'cause
Why
he
don't you
wanted me to do
share?
things.
Why don't you find out who the planning department
Yeah.
is? Why don't you share it with us?
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
can also email them.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah?
we're good now because we're on the right path as long as this passes tonight. If not, then I'm going to have to cancel our portion of the grant. That's the only thing. So
Right. No, I'm just asking for your help to
Yeah.
understand who the
Oh, yeah,
actors are,
and
so
again,
that we can.
absolutely. Yeah,
You
no,
know, and that's a
absolutely.
fair question.
Okay.
Thank
So-
you.
So wait, I want to chime in because you do have some fair questions. I mean, Chris, is this the type of thing if we just table it for now, could you chase down these answers and then vote on it at the next meeting?
If we don't vote on it tonight and pass it, it won't happen at this
the
point.
last minute.
You guys already.
It's
you
not
guys
last minute.
already-
We actually introduced
Yes,
this
and it
once
was turned
before.
down.
When-
And it was,
when
and
was
it was,
that?
and it was denied a month ago?
About a month and a half ago. Yeah,
Denied
now
by
because you-
whom?
By the
Two
committee.
members of the governing body just decided to vote a no on it.
Okay, and was it adequately like discussed and, you know, described? Because honestly, when we sit here with these agenda items, yeah, I can print it out and look at it, but it's very confusing. And it would be nice to have like bullet point, you know, agenda items. Like the man was saying about the summary of, you know, I think it was Aberdeen, how they do it. Could we get a little more communication and transparency? That would be nice. Thank you.
All right, anybody else on Safe Streets? Okay. Oh, Mr. Emma.
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. Just a quick one. Is the lowest bidder that you were referring to, is that a traffic safety company or is that an engineer?
It's an engineer. They have their own traffic safety units. Almost all the engineering firms have that.
Who was the lowest bidder?
Van Cleef.
Say again?
Van Cleef.
Okay, and that's not one of our current.
It is one of our current, but they were not given it. They had to go through the bidding process, and they came in still the lowest bidder.
They were the lowest bidder.
They were the
Thank you.
lowest bidder. Open. It was open competitive.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Trisquita.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. This is a no-brainer. The federal government is willing to give us $250,000 if we put a bond for $50,000 to do an engineering study on our streets. So the money came from federal government on the $1 trillion COVID relief fund. Okay, that was passed in 2021. Why is it being delayed to 2026? Because it takes a long time to spend $1 trillion. Okay, Homedale is getting $250,000 of that $1 trillion. We put up a bond of $50,000 and do $300,000 worth of engineering work for our streets any way we want them. This is a no-brainer. Please pass it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Weisfeld.
Sorry. I really need a sandwich. Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside
I
Lane.
thought you just had lunch.
Well, yeah, it didn't go well. I ended up just having a little bit of rice pudding. Evan's the best. Anyway, 300,000. I'm thinking about it. That actually doesn't cover that much. I'm thinking about the stuff that I've done, not to get into details and things like that, and then I realized that that doesn't really cover too much. It just we should add a zero in reality. Like I almost feel like the 300,000 does just enough to. I don't want to say this. I don't want to throw. I feel like it almost does just enough to make things look good, but isn't enough to actually solve it. In reality, I'm thinking about things that I've done in the past. Like I did a parking lot and the guy was 20,000 less, all that stuff, and that was 30. And I mean that wasn't not a lot of space. So that's what I'm thinking now. It's almost like a.
Well, they're not. This money, Chris. I want to make sure we're clear on this.
Yeah,
This money isn't going to go to the actual paving and the things of that
This
nature.
is the plan.
This is the full
plan.
mapping, the plan.
Mapping, yeah. The engineering part.
Just the engineering part.
Yes, if we
Yes.
get this, then we are eligible for other grants. If we don't get this, then we can't get the other grants.
If we get this, we submit the plan to the federal government. It makes us eligible for other grants to actually do the work that's within the plan.
This is why I could never work in this stuff, because I would never work like this. And I know you guys are stuck with these rules. I'm not hitting you on it. I think 300. And what is the? And not to drag it on. I'm literally. So that's 300 for the engineering. What's the projected? Like, what can we get? Like, is there a 2 to 3 million?
Well, it depends
next?
on the plan submitted and the work that needs to be done. What the request would ultimately be for a grant, Chris. Right? I mean, that's
So
typically
right now we're not doing
don't-
busing, but I'll leave that alone.
Yeah,
I'll leave
we
that
don't just.
alone. I'll leave that
Well,
alone. I'm sorry. It's. Anyway.
Anybody else? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
Hey, Chris, could you just clarify for me? Are you going to give them direction as to what you want them to look at?
Absolutely. When we already met on this before the bond didn't pass last time. I promised that I'm going to be involved heavily in this. Barbara's already involved in it heavily. Matt Minosky from the police department is involved in it. He's actually collecting the data for them, and then we kind of stopped it because I didn't know if I was going to have the money. As soon as I'm allowed to do this, I'm going to move forward and make sure that we're overseeing every bit of it.
So could I say that you're basically going to look at, with the police input, areas that they've identified as issues for either safety issues or could be potential safety issues that haven't popped up yet?
Yes, that's exactly. We're going to use accident data. We're collecting it all. I'm hoping that we can get as much out of this grant as possible and identify as much as we can, because the money might be flowing down, and if it flows down, we might as well go get it. So, it would be very helpful.
And I'm sure we'll let the public know the areas that are being studied or looked at, correct?
Absolutely. Once we have more information, I'll even make sure that we do a presentation on it.
Thank you. Yes, Wendy.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto?
Yes.
Bond ordinance 2026-11 has been successfully passed and will be published on the Homedale Township website according to law. Next is hearing on ordinance 2026-12, which is an ordinance authorizing acquisition of Block 26, Lot 5 on the tax map of the Township of Homedale, which is 34 Crawford's Corner Road.
And so before we get into this one, this is, to put it more succinctly, this is the attempt on our part to purchase the Ludgard House, Addie Ludgard House on the Board of Education property in front of the high school. It is our intent to provide the Homedale School District with a cash infusion of about $1 million. That $1 million is something that they are certainly in need of, given the challenges they've had. And it also would ensure that the property itself is used only for public purchase. We're bonding it through our open space fund, which means the only thing this property could be used for is open space and recreation. This way, there's no other future township committee that can decide to put, I don't know, a town home there or something to that effect. So, again, our purpose is to provide the schools with a cash infusion and to also ensure that this property is used strictly for public purpose. And I'll reiterate what I said earlier. The Board of Education has made it clear they are not going to continue courtesy busing. That subscription busing will be used to supplant that, to help parents have an alternative to get their kids to school. Any questions related to courtesy busing, or any board policy, so to speak, will be redirected towards the Board of Education. So, with that said, we'll open this up to public hearing. Ms. Blumenthal.
Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. When you acquire Addie's house, will you also acquire the land that is on it as is designated as lot, whatever it is?
I think it's about 3 acres. Is that right, Chris? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we will.
So that you'll be responsible, the town will now be responsible for mowing the lawn and other exciting things like that.
Yep, all the fun stuff.
Okay. It seemed a little queer just to buy a house that's hanging in the breezes or something.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Mr. Trisquita.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. I support the purchase of this house. This should have really never been bought by a Board of Education. I'm glad Homedale is buying it for $1 million, the appraised value, which is just over $1 million. I have a couple comments on it. It belongs in the open space, and that's what the open space fund is for, buying property and putting it in the open space fund so it can never be used for development. A 40-year bond on this would make it, minimal cost to the township out of the pretty healthy open space fund balance that goes now. I just want to make so I fully support purchasing this and putting it into our inventory of open space property that the township owns. My comment is the $1 million that goes to the Board of Education has to go into their capital fund for a capital thing. They have to pay off their bond that they used to buy it. I believe they bought it for $625,000, and they have a bond and things. It has to go in their capital reserve, capital maintenance fund to do things like fixing a gym floor or doing capital work on the Board of Education property. So this is money that will the Board of Education needs to put into their capital reserve fund, which has been depleted, and they have big issues with floors and air conditioning is going bad and things like that that could exceed $1 million in no time at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public hearing on this?
Sarah Cho, 4 Putnam Court. When the original, social media came out regarding the purchase of the Addie house, you had mentioned that it would be in exchange, to help with the courtesy busing situation. And then I think the next day that was walked back on.
That day it was walked back.
That day it was walked back on. Now, it seemed like it was your intent, and I was very happy to hear that you were infusing $1 million into the Board of Ed, and that could pay for the courtesy busing. But when it was walked back on, I was very disappointed, as I think there's about 700 signatures on that courtesy busing save petition. What is your explanation for walking back on that?
Sure, it was a miscommunication. When we originally discussed providing assistance to the schools, courtesy busing was something the schools were considering. They decided they reconsidered that as an option, and it wasn't something they continued to support. Therefore, the money is going to go towards what the board needs, and Patrick actually put it in a good frame. They need a rainy day fund. They need to refill their coffers, so to speak, because it's been depleted. So, I'm not getting involved in board policy. We're doing our best to help the schools and the students any way we can. This is a cash infusion that they need, that we think is helpful for them to actually manage their budget going forward, if it passes. And how they choose to use it is their policy and their procedure and their decision.
Okay, so that's, so would you have purchased it if you knew that the money was not going towards courtesy
Well, we haven't
busing?
purchased it, yes. I would have teed up doing this either way because we want to help. We try to help any way we can.
Okay, helping with courtesy busing would be fantastic since a lot of families
It's not our decision.
really need that.
It's not our decision. It's a board policy thing. You should go to a Board of Ed meeting and articulate that.
And I have. And there's a lot more money in the township committee's
No, no, no,
funds
no, 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 no.
to pay for courtesy busing.
The school budget's 2.5 times the township budget. It's 2.5 times. It's 4%. It would be a 4% increase on our budget. It would be a 0.9% increase on the board budget, 0.009. That's not, it's not an accurate statement. Okay, and I'm not saying the board should do it or not. I'm telling you, I'm not weighing in on board policy, and this isn't a board policy meeting. This was the decision. It was our commitment. It's been our commitment for the past several years to help any way we can.
It's just very disappointing when your intent was to help with the courtesy busing, and because there was, I guess, miscommunication. I don't know how there could be miscommunication to that level between two very, important bodies in our town. And I just want to highlight the fact that I knew that it was your intent, right, to help with the courtesy busing, because that's what you said in your post. And then immediately it was retracted because I guess somebody from the Board of Ed reached out to you. And it's very disappointing to see that kind of leadership.
Leadership from whom? Just, I'm not sure who you're referring to. Is it me?
Referring to the channels between the Board of Ed and the Township Committee. If you're going to put something out on, a social media post where you have 17,000 residents who could potentially be seeing it, and it was a very contentious matter, right? Like, it's still a very contentious matter. The fact that, everyone's relying on this legal requirement that, oh, you don't have to provide busing. But, families where we live within those school districts in the 2-mile zone, we're paying for other parents to have their kids bused, but then we have to pay extra to then have our kids bused. And we're also, like, as a town, all of our resources go towards everything, correct? Why are we singling out courtesy busing? Just because there's this legal rule? There aren't sidewalks, Rocco. Like, Mayor Rocco, you know that there aren't safe ways for our kids to walk to school. And traffic is already really bad. It's getting worse, honestly, which really boggles my mind because we have a lower amount of students in the schools. If you ever do drop off or pick up for any of these schools,
I do it for my kids.
Right, it's going to get exponentially worse. And that's assuming that parents can drive their kids. They're probably going to have to hire people. And you might be in that boat. I don't know. I
know several people that are in the realm of courtesy busing, and we're going to trust the Board of Education to execute their solution in the way that they have, which is the subscription busing component, and we'll adjust as needed. I mean, my family will adjust as needed. I can't speak for others.
So
Sandra, I'll just chime in if I may as well. I'm within the 2-mile radius as well. We have 4 kids. I actually asked the superintendent several weeks ago if anybody had actually asked about a subscription busing service, and his answer was no. And he speaks to a lot more parents in the school community than I do on a daily basis. So I said, well, that's something I would gladly do. I don't feel, as one of the 700 kids that are affected by it, that I should be having the rest of the township, roughly 90%, 80 to 90%, paying for that when state law tells us that the school does not have to do it. And then when they get audited, let me just finish, please. Mm-hmm. When they get audited, they get criticized for providing it. Things have changed drastically since I was on the Board of Education, not just with the Board of Education, but with the state in general. And when you look at just the healthcare costs, the salary costs, everything is just exponentially increased, as you said before.
Right.
So things need to be tightened up. Am I happy about courtesy busing going away? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to say that I'm going to raise the rest of the taxes, as was suggested up here, on everybody else in town to cover that. I'm just not going to do that. I will figure out a way to get my kids to school.
And point of clarification, I used to live within the realm of Village School. We live now, we live outside the courtesy busing range for the high school, but I drive my kids, so.
So, on that point, right? For you to say that because the state doesn't require it, the state does require then safe ways to get to school, right? We've talked about this ad nauseum. Safe sidewalks, crossing guards. Has anyone done a budget as to what that would take, or is
So
that?
we've reached out to the school district in terms of decisions and areas that are considered in need of a crossing guard. That direction has to come from, I think, specifically the superintendent. He's received a note from us on that, and we're waiting for them to do their assessment and respond to us so that we know what we have to provide to ensure this process.
See, that though, I will comment on that. I mean, that notification just went out a couple days ago.
That's right.
The town hasn't done its due diligence to know what we need. We don't know how many crossing
Well,
guards
the town
we need.
doesn't do the due diligence. The Board of Ed does. The superintendent does.
There has to
But
be
the
coordination there.
request-
None of that coordination has happened. So we don't know. And I think the notification was sent out to the Board of Ed on Friday.
It was.
So I don't think that they
That's
could
right.
turn it around.
I-
I don't think
it's
something
not
that
e-
big could be turned
I
around that
mean,
quickly.
the question of timing is huge, but what's more, I guess, just logical, right? We had probably I'm sorry. We had come here. We had about 4 weeks of snow that was like this high, right? When you plow the streets, it was this high. I actually saw a bunch of high schoolers walking on Telegraph. On Telegraph, with cars zooming by, going 45 miles an hour. It's really dangerous. It's really dangerous. And, you know, I really love Homedale. I went to Homedale High School. I lived in this area for all my life. This kind of like finger pointing and saying like it's no.
There's no finger pointing. Actually, we're working in concert with the Board of Education leadership, and we've been doing so now for actually about 3 years. But since Pete got elected and I became mayor again as president, we've kept that relationship consistent. We've kept it strong. We've kept in communication. Now, you can fault me for making a mistake on social media and then correcting it. That's on me, and that's okay. Mistakes happen. It's not something, it's not something we look to do, but we've been in constant communication. So the reason why, the reason why the letter didn't go out till Friday is because we were waiting to make sure there was no way that the board had made its final decision. And that's why we worked through this to talk it through, and I got explicit position from the president of the Board of Education and the superintendent that said, we're going to, in order to offset courtesy busing, we're going to move to a subscription model. That's when we realized we need crossing guards. That's when we sent the note. In response to that note, it'll be, we'll determine what crossing guards are needed where, and the board will work concurrent to that to determine how to execute a subscription busing program.
Have any of you?
Wait, but I want to make a comment on that because I watched the last BOE meeting and Pete's here, and I heard from the BOE that they had requested we talk about this last year, and it took them 7 months to get a meeting with us to discuss the courtesy busing. Unless I heard that wrong,
No,
Pete.
that was correct. I heard that as well.
So the constant communication thing, I don't think so. I think that's a problem. I think there's a scramble now, which is the problem, and I don't think we're prepared for it.
Joe,
So my
you were-
position
Joe, you were
is-
board liaison. Did you talk to them?
I tried. He wouldn't talk to me. That's why we had our blow up. I did reach out to him several times, and they would not speak to me.
Okay, well, the mayor was in pretty consistent communication with the board president.
Right. But again, I tried. That's why we had our whole blow up. I wanted to talk about this stuff. We didn't, or he wouldn't reach out to me, which is fine. But now we're in a position where there is a bit of a scramble, and I think, and my position is going to be the same. I'm going to raise it meeting after meeting. I think we should bond for or pull out of surplus money for courtesy busing to renew it for a year, because it's the right thing to do, because we are unprepared to lose courtesy busing. Right, and I think that gap of communication that happened, that 7 months loss is unacceptable to the taxpayers. That should have never happened. That's a huge failure on both sides, on both the BOE and the Township Committee. That should have never happened.
Yeah, from the last Board of Ed meeting, what we were told was the superintendent had reached out, and I don't know to which individual, because it seems like everyone talks in silos here, and not everyone is copied, and discussions are had. He said as early as June of 2025, the superintendent reached out to the Township Committee to discuss how courtesy busing was going to be handled going forward. And that makes sense because the timeline was April of 2025 was when the Township Committee committed the $650,000 bond to pay for courtesy busing for this current year. Now we've lost a year, right? And kind of like, you guys like need to talk and do what's best for the citizens, you know, and delaying this until sitting down till in February of 2026. Why was there such a long delay? And you know, you're really affecting families, and it's not fair.
I just want to be very clear here, because I really reject the premise that this sits on the Township Committee. This is Board of Education policy. This is Board of Education decision. We assist with the Board of Education financially when we can. What they do with that money and how they execute it is their decision. And I said at the beginning of this meeting, if there's a board policy discussion, it belongs at a Board of Education meeting, not here. We are doing, and I'll say it again because I feel like I have to repeat myself on this, this governing body has done more for the schools than any governing body in Homedale's history financially, and it's not even close. And so now there's an attempt, political or otherwise, by certain people to try to make this decision on us. This has nothing to do with the town. We are working in concert and in response to what the Board of Education chooses to do with their budget and with the money we provide. In order to continue working in concert and in response to that, we will await their recommendation on the number of crossing guards needed. We will have to budget for it, and we will handle it, in addition to the subscription busing program that they're going to institute to provide parents with an option. That's what this is. And so we can have opinions on it, and I respect Joe and his opinion, and that's fine. On the dais, we can have different opinions on this. But this isn't a township matter. This is a Board of Education matter.
Obviously, we agreed to disagree, Mayor Rocco, and that's fine. The delay from June until now is just, it's unacceptable. And, you know, I'm very thankful for the money that the Township Committee has given to the schools. I am. I will acknowledge that you have, you know, supported a lot of, you know, Board of Ed issues. But this, I think it would have made more sense to at least do a bond for this year so that there could be a year of discussions and bidding for the courtesy busing.
But again, you're at, see, this is listen, this is where it gets a little bit weird for me. We're looking, if it gets approved, to provide them with $1 million. They do not want to continue courtesy busing. So why would we say, here's another $600,000 not to do courtesy busing?
No, I disagree. I disagree. And this is where
and by the way, we can't
communication-
afford doing.
If I could just traffic cop this a little bit, the clerk asked me to, and I think she's right. This is a public hearing on the bond ordinance, which is specific to the acquisition of the property. Let's keep it on the ordinance. This is a public commenter who has the right to comment. Once that comment is done, we'll continue the public hearing. After the public hearing is over, then the Township Committee, if there's a motion in a second, we'll have all the discussion in the world, and then we'll see where this goes.
Fair enough. There's a gentleman in the back. Yes, sir. Come on down.
Vincent Belcastro, 16 Orchard Avenue. Can you clarify what you just said about doing something about the courtesy busing? Because if that includes taxing, extra taxes.
Like I just said, sir.
I know, but I wanted to
Sir,
clarify.
please address your comment to the mayor. After your comment is made, the mayor can certainly open it up to the committee members to respond, but
Appreciate that,
we
yeah.
want to keep some order here.
I'd like to know about that comment, if
Is-
that includes increasing taxes on the taxpayers.
Well, the
What
answer
he's
is yes.
suggesting.
What he's suggesting would increase taxes on the taxpayer.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
Any other comments? Mr. Emma?
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. It's no secret that the schools need money, right? And Rocco, you've also made a comment that there's going to potentially be a budget deficit for the TC.
I wouldn't say deficit, but we have things get
Shortfall?
tight. Things get tight. Not a shortfall, but things are getting tight. Expenses going up.
So my comment would be, why not let this Addy House be put out for a public sale rather than the town buy it?
I'll give you two.
Let me finish, because let's not kid ourselves. It's not $1,030,000. It's $1,030,000 to purchase it, but then there's the upkeep and and the money needed to bring it up to code, get rid of the lead paint, et cetera. So it's not just $1 million. It's going to be more than that. So why not let the public put it up for a bid like a normal house? You could deed restrict it so it wouldn't be a 7-Eleven, which I think is the comments that were made, and that would provide even more money to the schools. So that would be my comment. Why not let the public put it out there for public, just like a normal house?
Sure, because I think in following the practice that we've instituted for the past several years, we're going to use the open space fund to restrict the use of that property for open space and recreation purposes only. And so that's the point of it, Ron, is not just to provide a cash infusion, but to protect the land.
And Mayor, I could be wrong, but I don't recall anybody saying that we're definitively going to upgrade the house or do anything like that. I mean, we're protecting the property, Ron, and we're giving the Board of Ed a cash infusion.
Well,
to suggest anything else beyond that, I think is very speculative, and I think you're going to be
the
wrong.
house is protected as it is right now. It's owned by the Board of Ed. So it's not going anywhere. It's owned by the Board of Ed. I
And any
understand the
money.
logic is trying to get the Board of Ed money.
Yeah.
My point is, you could get the board more money if you would put it out for public bid.
Well,
And
let's
deed restrict it.
So
That's
let's
all
so okay. If we deed restrict it, like just let's pull that thread for a minute. If we deed restrict it, depending on what it's restricted, the value is going to drop. What the restriction is, right? So it's going to be less valuable.
Well, you don't know that until you try, right? You don't know that. You don't know that till you try.
Well,
The board could also say, we're not accepting a bid lower than $1,030,000, right? You don't know that until you try. They don't have to accept it. If it's deed restricted,
Look, they
you're
don't have
saying
to-
the value is going to be lower. The board doesn't have to accept the public's bid of whatever it is.
The board doesn't have to accept our bond if we go through tonight. They could tell us no.
All the
And
point
they
is-
could turn around and say, truthfully, they could turn around and try to sell it to somebody else. They could do that.
I just think in efforts to get the Board of Education more money, there's a better way to do it, potentially to get them even more money. And without the town taking on the risks of upgrading the house to ADA compliance, lead paint.
Then Ron, I'll go back to it. That's going to be their decision when they vote on this. They are welcome to say no, because this is a two-part thing. If this goes through tonight, they can turn around at their meeting, and Pete, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to call you. The board can turn around and say, no, we're going to look to sell it to somebody else.
Thank you.
Matt, I think you've already commented on this one. We're going to do one. Not this one?
No.
No? Okay, come on.
We don't go by that.
I swear. Hey guys, Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside Lane. I actually think this is great. I think it's great, but in my opinion, I think it's. I thought it was like a historical monument. I mean, like to one extent. I mean, like, who cares what we do with it in the respect of, I mean, I think it's. Okay, I also just disagree. I feel for Committeeman Romano because I had a dreadful time communicating with the Board of Ed. I literally offered to bankroll and open up all my resources, and nothing. And that's not a dig. It's just literally, I was the only one that would go to their cow meetings, and I stopped because I literally got yelled at for being the only one there. So you know what? Screw them. Not you, Pete. You've always been good to me. But I'm sorry. Whatever. And
Matt, if you got resources you want to throw our way, we'll take them.
dude, I love this town. I don't want you guys to be like this. I know the primary Republican side, I would love to see you all come back together, but that's a whole other story. I'm just saying that, like, it's a historical I'm seeing the frustration. I had it. I mean, I've literally, like, offered endless stuff. I mean, I don't want to talk about me, because it's not about that. It's about, like, you have people who want to lend a hand. You have people who want to do it. And frankly, I don't know what happened. And again, I'm not trying to give you a big head here, Committeeman Romano. I think you had something to do with it. With, like, since January, I've had an easy time. I have, the past 3 years, guys, I'd run a global company, and the hardest thing was getting my kids to school.
Well, that actually, Chief, I asked to the chief to do a traffic study over at Village, and he did do that, and it's been great. Like, they actually have helped the traffic patterns. That's what happened there. Because I was also very unhappy with the traffic there.
Yeah, and thank you, because, hey, it's not perfect, but this year, whatever changed, I'm getting to work. There was one day I was an hour late, and not in the past, everything else. So whatever happened, I like it. I
appreciate it. Public comment on the item we're talking
Oh,
about.
I'm
but I do
sorry. I'm
appreciate
just
it.
saying that I
Yeah.
think it's great.
Wendy's going to yell at me.
Yeah, it's so wait, let me guys give you a feather. I mean, I think it's good because, again, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure about to lose, like, staff members and stuff, and I don't know if this stuff is connected or not. I don't know. It just seems to me that, like, yes, the open market, things like that, and maybe if there's communication in the past, which, And again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just feel like that maybe it's kind of past. I mean, in the sense of, am I making sense?
You lost me somewhere in there. You had me at good things, and then you lost me somewhere.
No, I'm
after
just
that.
saying that this seems like a good thing. I mean, like, I don't think we have the time. I don't think we have the time to deal with. And Ron, I liked everything you said. It seems like we don't have the time to save.
Look, the
stuff.
alternative is we don't buy the house, right? Which this may fail tonight, right? So that's the alternative, and that could happen. And if that's the case, then that's it is what it is, right?
But like on the surface, though, again, it's like, but what are the other ramifications that we're missing? And I really
would
mean
agree.
that. And I have thoughts, but I don't want to say because I don't know if it's accurate. So that's why I'm hesitating, but I don't want to, you know what I mean? And again, I think I really need a sandwich. Anyway, I hope that made sense. And I'm going to go sit down now.
All right, thank you.
Just before we vote, can we get a point of clarity? I know this gentleman asked me if our taxes would go up if we preserve the courtesy busing. If we bond for this out of our open space fund, are the are the residents' taxes going up when
No.
we buy the Addy house?
No, they won't. Not bonding out of the open space fund because we're going to bond it over 40 years. The open space fund will have the cash to help pay it off, and we can pay it off sooner than that.
Sure. So could we add, I've spoken to the BOE pretty extensively too since the last meeting, and there are several members that would be willing to continue the courtesy busing if we could bond for it. I was told that $450,000 would do it. Could we add $450,000 from the open space fund on top of the $1 million to preserve the service for a year?
Actually, Chris and I already had that discussion, and so
Yeah,
Chris,
I
Bill,
was
and I already
asked-
had that discussion. The answer was no.
I was on the softball field when the mayor called me and asked me if it's legal. It's not legal to do that. We can only pay for that's why we had it appraised. And just to reiterate, last year when we bonded, we did not bond for busing. We bonded for maintenance. They used the money from maintenance and moved it from one portion of their budget to another to pay for the busing. So there is nothing that was requested by the board we couldn't bond anything. This couldn't be bonded. It would have to be raised by taxation. And as I said, it's a little over 4% of our tax levy. So we'd have to use cap bank and everything like that. So it would raise our taxes, yes.
We're still in the public hearing, Mayor.
Yeah, are we done with public comments on this? Peter, you're halfway up, halfway down?
Pete Franco, 5 Hopper Lane. Hi, everybody. Wasn't this house purchased in a previous budget like 6 or 7 years ago
By the Board of Education.
with taxpayers' money?
Yeah.
So it's being bought again by taxpayers' money?
Yeah.
Okay, so the open space fund that's going to bond this is taxpayers' money?
Yeah, that's right.
But everyone keeps saying that it's not going to cost taxpayers anything.
It's not going to increase your taxes. This is coming out of township budget, township resources that we have to offset costs and issues that the Board of Education is having with their budget. This is money that the township can budget for and handle over time without increasing the tax rate or taxes at all.
Mayor, can I chime in?
And the money's already coming in because it's the open space fund. It's something that's going to continue to grow. Yeah, Dave.
Pete, when I was on the Board of Ed with Mr. Reddy, when we purchased this, we had reached out to the township, and we heard nothing. Not just on this situation, but basically any situation. So that's why the Board of Ed moved forward with it, so that it wasn't going to be purchased by somebody else, and then the schools have to worry about what was going to go there. So it was kind of like, well, our hands are tied when I was on the Board of Ed. Let's move forward with this. Now, because of the situation here and with the funds, we're helping them.
But, I mean, to go back to what Ron was saying, to try to get the Board of Ed more money, I mean, a house on 3 acres, level land in Homedale, we know is worth a lot of money, regardless of where it is. I mean, a daycare could possibly buy it, another school could possibly buy it for, some sort of extended education or anything. I mean, I think it's a good idea to try to maximize the most money for the Board of Ed with trying to list it. And if worst case scenario, you guys can be their plan B.
It's entirely up to them. All we can do tonight is vote on the bond to do this, or vote on the 2 ordinances to do this. The Board of Education has every right, when they sit down to meet, to say no.
Now-
That's listen.
And Chris,
we're
what's the zoning as well?
R40, which is residential agricultural, so it's not zoned for anything
But-
that it would be money-making.
But you guys obviously have the power to rezone anything in town. You've done it before.
It would be right in the middle of another zone, so it's basically one small piece that would be rezoned. So it would be a little bit, it wouldn't be us who did it. It would have to be anybody who wants to build something on it, and that would have to go through zoning, and that would be a D variance, which is very difficult to do, especially where it's located.
But, I mean, 7-Eleven, let's say, it would be denied.
Oh,
Did I
yeah.
say
You know,
7-Eleven? Where did that come from?
But
Did I-
you
did
said
I?
the last
Oh.
week.
Everybody likes this 7-Eleven. It's going to be 7-Eleven.
No, but I'm just
I
saying,
thought
like,
somebody
but
said
if it was
Starbucks.
something that
I think you said Starbucks. Okay.
no, but what I'm saying is, it's if somebody wants to put a convenience store, you guys have the authority to say, nope, it's not going there.
Well, I think what Chris is trying to say is if the property were sold to a third party, and if the board wanted to sell the property to a third party, it would have to bid it out. If the highest bidder got it and they wanted to make application to the zoning board to propose something that's not a permitted use, the zoning board does have that power and the township committee does not have an override. So it would be up to whatever the zoning is, or if someone gets a variance.
Yeah. So Peter, if the question is whether or not we should move forward to do this, we're going to vote on it, and we'll see where the vote lies. If it's a yes, and the 4 or 5 of the committee decides to provide the schools with a cash infusion, and the board accepts that money, then it goes through. If 3 out of 5 vote in favor of providing the schools with a cash infusion and ensuring that the property in front of the school can only be used for recreation and open space, then it's going to fail. Then there's uncertainty on the property. Then the board doesn't get a $1 million cash infusion, or at least get the opportunity to vote on the $1 million cash infusion and security for the property in front. That's really the long and short of the whole thing. There's not much more. There's really not much more nuance than that.
Well, just like, but there's options. Like, what if the Board of Ed was to deed restrict the Addy House property for open space only, then donate it to the town? Could the town then gift them the money?
Talk to the Board of Ed. Why? I mean, go to a Board of Ed meeting and ask them. It's up to them what they choose to do. What could they do? What may they do? What
So you
what
can't-
hypothetical? I'm not going to opine on what they do or their policy or their process. I'm not going to do
So
it.
there's
I've
no
said that.
wording that like last year when the 600,000 was supposed to go towards courtesy busing, you can't say we're buying this, but it has to go towards this or that. They can do whatever they want.
Well,
with
listen.
it.
They have been clear that they do not intend, as an example, to move forward with courtesy busing. If we tried forcing that on them, they might just turn around and say no anyway, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then, well, I got some stuff down here. But as far as like the affordable family housing, with the families that are in affordable housing, would the
This is
No, no,
still
this is
on
still
the
on the-
ordinance
we're still on the
2026-12. It's not
Yeah,
regular
it's not-
public hearing.
it's not regular public-
That's at the end.
I'll come back. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank
you.
you. Sorry.
Okay. Sure.
Sarah Cho, Putnam Court, for Putnam Court. If today you guys decide not to bond for the Addy House, would that in turn affect your decision to potentially put a bond for the courtesy busing?
This is it. There's no bond for courtesy busing.
You
We're
can't
not
bond
gonna,
for- you
we
can't
can't
bond
bond for
for it.
courtesy. We can't do it.
Oh.
This isn't a bond for courtesy busing.
Oh, no.
This
No,
is-
separately, like on another, like a special
No.
agenda? You wouldn't be, you wouldn't
can't
have the
bond-
opportunity.
You can't bond busing.
Okay.
It has to be real property. and
Okay.
You can't bond busing. Busing's not a something where that's not a capital improvement.
Okay.
So it's a perishable thing. After 1 year it ends. So what we did last year was we bonded for maintenance at the school, and the school used money that they were going to use for maintenance.
Right.
And they moved it.
Okay.
So this year they did not. That's not what was ever even brought up. This is actually, they have more leeway with this money that we're trying to give,
Right.
or that the committee's going to vote on. The problem is if they don't choose to, then we have no say in it.
Okay, so just for clarity in terms of timeline, let's say you guys say no to the Addy House today. You vote no. Then is there a window of time that you can have a special meeting to discuss bonding the maintenance then for the Board of Ed?
They don't actually. When I looked at their budget, they don't. They're trying to recoup maintenance money now. They're not trying to spend it. So there's no intent on their part to do anything like that. That was a chance last year because they had things they had to do. There might not be anything for us to bond for them this year. They physically have to give us something they want repaired or improved on, and that's not part of their budget this year. I kind of looked through their budget. I can't see it all. All I see is their presentation, and it didn't appear there was anything we could do on that end anyway. So, and it would take several months because again, it would have to be introduced, and then we'd have to go through it. Then you'd have what's called a 20-day estoppel. So by the time we're all done with this, it would probably be 2 to 3 months down the road.
Right.
Way too close to school to even try to change anything, and the budget would have to be done by then.
Right, okay. It's good to understand the timeline. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Can I get a motion for 2026-12?
Motion to adopt.
Get a second?
Second.
Mr. Bontempo?
So, heard all the comments tonight on this. 2017, Township passed the 2020 referendum, paid $600,000 plus interest, probably north of $700 right now for this property. I'm concerned that we're going to use taxpayer money twice. In 2021, I put a referendum on the ballot to increase the open space tax, which doubled the open space tax that we had, because we couldn't afford to cover our open space funds, and we were going to the general fund for many, many years. So that kind of helped improve that. I never saw this as part of that plan to use open space funds to buy property the school already owned. I'm a little concerned that school increased their budget without going to referendum. It's a pretty significant tax increase. And now you're doing a tax increase without resident approval, and now you're trying to put in another $1 million without resident approval, which is taxpayer money, right? Your taxes are going up because of the Board of Ed raising it. The prerogative, it's a Murphy, call it a democratic loophole that they put in, working with the NJEA. I don't agree with. I think in this town, residents should decide if their taxes are going up hundreds of dollars to cover millions of dollars in debt, whether they want it or not. There's a process in place to do that. So I'm concerned about bypassing residents in this process, not by this board, by the other board, and then this board trying to give them another $1 million out of open space fund. It's taxpayer money. You're paying taxes on it. Overwhelmingly approved, but people, our plan was to try to acquire as much open space as we could to try to control development of this town going forward, because I think we did a good job thus far, and hopefully we can continue to do a good job going forward of using those funds, in my opinion, wisely. I also hear that a couple good points about could the property, if the board is in financial distress, can potentially selling it publicly for, listen, that Addie's house was there before the schools were there. She gave the land when they built the school. So, there's always been a house there, even before schools were there. So keeping another single-family home, if they can get the Board of Ed more money, I'm kind of in favor of. So it would take the burden off the taxpayers, could potentially give the Board of Ed more money, and honestly, if it didn't work, they then could come back to this board for, say, hey, we tried to sell it, we couldn't get as much money, we got less money, we opted not to, can we still work with you guys for this plan? I think we're getting ahead of ourselves with this. I think the bigger picture, in my opinion, is that the taxpayers of Homedale deserve, if their taxes are going up, and honestly, if the taxes are going up, they could build in this $1 million from this, right, that they're getting, potentially getting, and build in the courtesy busing too, and let the voters decide what they want. But bypassing the rest, I'm not in favor of. So, based on that, I'm a no.
Thank you. Mr. Foster?
Could you clarify something for me, though, Mr. Bontempo? So a couple weeks ago, when Mr. Romano...
I'm going to do a little traffic cop. We're on a roll call vote. Everyone
Okay.
should limit their comment to them explaining their vote if they wish to do so, and otherwise voting. We really can't go back.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm a yes. Obviously, the board did purchase this property when I was on there because the township would not speak to us. They gave us a couple $100,000 bill for police and offered us $10,000 in a shared service and then patted themselves on the back. That's a joke. I'm a yes on this. We will continue to help the schools. I do agree with one point he made as far as putting it out to referendum about raising taxes, and I will emphatically vote yes and speak to everybody I know to vote yes because I think our township and our community is driven by our excellent schools. Thank you.
Mr. Romano?
Yeah, I'm going to vote yes with this. I know that the Board of Ed is in distress. It's not perfect. I know it's not perfect, but, and I'm also not done talking about the courtesy busing. I think that's a separate issue, but, I know the schools need the help right now. I know the budget's due on the 29th, so, yep.
Thank you. Mr. Vanderham?
Mike, can I ask Chris a question?
Unless it's a point of order, it really should just be...
I just want to understand the fair market value, that the appraisal that we have, is that a fair market value appraisal that we received?
Yes.
So if the BOE was going to sell it out to somebody else, that's the fair market value, that the appraisal that we received, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a yes on this.
Mayor Improviduto?
Sure. Sure. I would agree with the comment that we have done a good job procuring land with the Open Space Fund. The Open Space Fund had not procured any property for the better part of a quarter century before this governing body started using it, and now with this purchase going through, it'll be about 70 acres, I think, we've protected in Homedale. The comments regarding what was done in the past with the Board of Education and the House are somewhat misguided, and I think it was articulated well by Deputy Mayor Foster, which is there was no partnership with the town. If anything, things were contentious. So we've worked to heal that. This provides our students, our school district, the infusion of $1 million that they need. We agree. I think everybody agrees. That the board's going to have to go to referendum. In conversations with the board president and others, they know they have to go to referendum. There's no controversy there from my vantage point. We're all in agreement on that point. This is using the money in the Open Space Fund for the purpose with which it was intended, which is to procure land, to prevent development, and we get the added benefit of ensuring that we provide the schools with maybe one of the largest cash infusions they've gotten ever from the governing body, possibly the largest. So I'm a yes on this.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2026-12 has been successfully passed, and it will be published on the Homedale Township website according to law. Thank you. Next is hearing on bond ordinance 2026-13, which is providing for the acquisition of certain real property by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,030,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $980,952 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Do you want a public hearing on this? It's
Yeah.
kind of the second part of, I'm asking if there's anybody from the public wants to speak. Mr. Trisqueta.
Patrick Trisqueta, 56 Line Road. I'm supporting the bond issue of $1 million from our Open Space Fund. The Open Space Fund is for this purpose. It's exactly what it's for, and there's millions of dollars in that fund. I think every year it comes in $2,225,000 into the Open Space Fund. So money flows into that. It basically sits there until we have an acquisition, hopefully with this acquisition and others that come in.
Yeah, and we do
It's
use it to
flush.
maintain the open space, the
Yes,
properties
and
as
you
well.
do- and some maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Motion to vote on 2026-13.
Moved.
Second.
I'm
Mis-
going to pause there. This would be the opportunity for any discussion, so we don't have the issue.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
We'll vote, and then after that.
We can have further discussion if we'd like, or we can.
Well, yeah, Greg, I would like you to clarify, because when Joe made that motion a few weeks ago to just find the money and send it out for courtesy busing, basically taxing our residents, you seconded that motion. Can you clarify your comments that you just made now?
I think we need to do a look at our overall budget and see where we can cut costs and reduce the extra costs that the Board of Ed is putting on our residents with the use of some of the monies we are getting from our pilot funds, because we need to offset. We're getting to a breaking point where people can't continue to bear the burden of taxes going up to this level every single year. That's why I'm a proponent of putting this out for referendum. The voters should have a chance. Listen,
But you
2021, the voters.
seconded what he brought up, and now you're going completely the opposite of that. That's what I'm asking. What is your change of heart in the last few weeks?
That wasn't that for. I thought we discussed courtesy busing, wasn't it?
No, the point was, Brian
No,
said to Joe, taxes will have to go up. Joe said that's okay, and you said, and you seconded the motion. So you were in favor of taxes going up on our side to support this 2 weeks ago, and now you seem not to be. And I think that's the clarification the deputy mayor is
We
trying to
haven't
give.
done the budget yet, have we? I haven't approved the budget. I haven't approved a
We didn't do
decrease
the
in
budget then either, but you seconded
but
it.
we are going. But I am not going to be.
This is all hearsay anyways. We
Correct.
don't know, we never really sat down and hashed out how we could fund the busing. We don't know if taxes would go up really, because we haven't done the budget. So to say your taxes would go up is not true, because we haven't sat down and done the maths. Right? No, we haven't. We as a group haven't had a discussion on it.
No,
We never voted on it.
you're right. As a group, we have not. The mayor, myself, and the department heads have.
Right, which doesn't work, because there's 5 of us, right?
It'll get to that point, Joe.
And 5 equals up here, correct?
And you guys are welcome to ask the question. I don't. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's stopping you.
So
the point is,
Committeeman
you-
Romano's
you still haven't answered
statement
the question, though.
was based on us reducing our budget, so we could afford to give them the courtesy busing without increasing taxes.
We're
We
not
have a
increasing taxes, though.
$7.5 million pilot money coming in, and I'm sure we could find a way to cut costs.
It's not 7.5.
And save the taxpayer money, because they can't keep going up over and over again.
Exactly. Like, it's easy to point the finger and say taxes wouldn't go up again. We need to sit down and have the discussion to see how we could fund it.
So
and
what
we haven't done.
what I'm hearing a couple of different things. One of them is an opinion that I think we all share, which is that the board should go to referendum if there are going to be tax increases. Have you discussed this with any members of the board? Not you, Joe. Greg?
Yes.
Okay. What have they said? Did they agree?
Not for public discussion.
Okay. So why are you making a public discussion?
My conversation with them isn't for public discussion.
Okay. So you're offering an opinion that everybody shares. I don't understand the point of it.
On which part are you talking about?
Yeah, we all agree. You know, a 7% increase is significant.
I
and
haven't
any
heard
more
anybody
increases
say
should
go to
referendum.
I haven't heard anybody before tonight say they should go to referendum.
We've
Have
literally
you?
had discussions.
I said we should
we've
figure
literally
out
had
a way to
discussions
conserve
about that.
courtesy busing to get it to referendum.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
clearly,
fine. That's
if you
a Board of
weren't
Ed
doing this bond ordinance right now, and they need an extra $1 million, it would force them to go to referendum, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. They budgeted without it.
They budget with.
Another $1 million on top of the 6.9, the 7% they're going up.
No, they cut costs.
Yeah.
Cut teachers.
They cut costs. You should really talk to somebody with knowledge on the Board of Ed side if you don't know that that's what happened, before you opine on it.
If you increase $1 million over what they already budgeted, it's going to push them over that cap that Murphy put in place.
I don't even know. This is going to go to their rainy day fund.
If they need another $1 million into their budget, it's going to increase their needs, correct? Which is going to increase their ask from the public, which could put them over the amount that the cap protects them from.
I actually don't understand your point. They budgeted without the $1 million. Their budget is going to
Correct.
go up 7% without the $1 million.
Correct.
They're going to get the $1 million to buttress their rainy day fund. That's where the money's going to go to make sure that they actually have their coffers more full than they are now because it's been depleted. So again, we agree that tax increases should be voted on by the public. It's something I said like 2 months ago. We agree on that, okay? So I'm not entirely sure what the point of the statement is tonight when it's already been stated multiple times. That being said, you've also just proven that you're not familiar with the board budget. And I think before you opine on what the board does, you should get familiar with their budget. That's just my opinion.
My view is that until the voters have a chance to decide, we shouldn't be artificially giving them more money. They should come back to us after the public has a chance to vote on whether they want to see their taxes increased.
Listen, that's up to the board. They're going to go to referendum at some point. We know that. We've already had those discussions. They've articulated that to me. That's how they have to handle it. But I'm not, again, this is where this gets very interesting. We're having a discussion about the Board of Education. Go run for the Board of Education if you don't like the way they're doing things. Again, we're in agreement
I
here.
don't like the way we're doing things. I don't think we should be giving them $1 million out of our
Well, Greg, in 12
open
years, you
space
never gave the
fund.
schools anything, so it's
No,
very
we did. We
consistent
did the
with you.
first shared service agreement they ever had. No, it was 10% a year until 50%.
All right, so it was 30,000.
10% a year.
Hold on.
For 5 years.
How much was the bill?
Is irrelevant.
No, it's $30,000.
We had
It's
no
30,000.
money coming. Yes, it does. Yes, it is.
Before
Because what's the history before the SLEOs? What did they budget for school aids? What did they budget?
I honestly have no idea. I wasn't on at that point in time when
You
it was
should do
first
some
put.
research.
I should. I was on the board when you gave us the bill and gave us $10,000.
So
Public safety is a township issue, and that's why we took it over as soon as you were off the board.
So if you go back to the newsletter that's sent out probably in 2017 or 2018, Chief of Police did an article and he wrote about they had school aids. They were paying, their budget amount was either $800,000 or $900,000 for that. When the SLEOs came in, they cut that bill in half and they got rid of the school aids because they weren't protecting the students. And so it was a big win for them. So they got a windfall of a couple $100,000, and we shared the service. And that was it was a joint decision between myself, the committee at the time, the administrator, and the chief of police. But to realize that they were paying more for lunch aids than they were for police officers at every school. So the cost went down, and the value of protection went up significantly. So it was a win-win. So the fabrication you're hearing up here is a lot of BS. Look at the article that was written by a third party, not me, that summarized exactly what happened.
I'm sorry,
no
articulate what
text.
fabrication is, just so I can understand what you're referencing.
Do you know the budget? What were they paying before we put the police in? The budget went down dramatically.
So what's your point? I don't understand what you're getting at. It doesn't, again, I'm just going to keep going back to this because I think we clearly have a disconnect here somewhere along the way. This governing body committed to providing public safety support to the schools and taking over the cost of public safety. In addition to that, we've made several other moves to support our schools, which, by the way, tie to home values, are a known pillar of our community, which are a very important thing. Keeping the schools, at the status they're at or better is of critical importance. There is nothing anybody has done in the history of the town that exceeds the work we've done to ensure a tight relationship with the Board of Education and to ensure that we are supporting them financially however and whenever we can. We can't always do things to a certain level, right? We all know that. But I think it's a little bit hypocritical to comment on board items and board budgets when you really provided almost zero support for the board. When I got on here, I met with the president of the Board of Education. They told me no one heard from anybody from the township for 2 years. Okay? So I think this is a little bit of I think people are trying to recast themselves in a different light than what previously existed. The fact of the matter is, anything done to the point up until 3 years ago pales in comparison to what we did for these schools. And we will continue to support the schools provided our budget allows. If it does not allow, decisions will be made. I can tell you, probably next year, we can't find $1 million option for them. But we can continue providing the service to the SLEOs. And to the point that you raised, that I raised 2 months ago, we all agree the public should vote on a tax increase. That's the most democratic way to operate. So again, I'm struggling to understand your point other than to just be speaking.
I disagree again with this bond funding. I think it should go to public vote before any decisions made on giving them another $1 million from the public. I'm not opposed to it, but it should come after a referendum goes out to the public, because the public may overwhelmingly support it, and then this money may not be needed, and then we could purchase other land with it. Pretty simple.
Look, I think my problem is, and not to get contentious, but really like finding out at a public BOE meeting that so much time had passed when they were trying to plan for things like busing. Because I heard in the meeting that courtesy busing was brought up with the TC, right, and that it didn't go anywhere. That's a hard pill for me to swallow, because like I believe that there should be long-term coordination between the township committee and the BOE. That's where some of my frustration came last year, right? So I think we lost a lot of time, between when we approved the courtesy busing last year to now. Like, we didn't use that time wisely, right? And now we're in the position that we're in, and I get what you're saying, but I also think that it's a little bit of like scare tactics to say if we try to bail out the courtesy busing, our taxes are going up. Like, we haven't had the discussion, we haven't crunched the numbers. I know you're saying that, but until we actually do the math and do the budget, it's hard for me to agree with that. I am. It's not a political issue, Rocco. Like, I am legitimately. I've never in my 3 years had more people reach out to me with concern. Like,
No,
I
wasn't referencing you when I talked about people.
a ton of people reach out to me, and I'm actually worried about like the kids. Like, I honestly don't know. Like, we're all volunteers, right? So when people make statements like, I don't know if we have to build sidewalks. Truthfully, I'm not. Like, I rely on the professionals to tell me whether we need to do that. I don't know how many crossing guards we need to hire. I don't know what studies need to be done. I don't know who's in charge of what. I know the BOE has some responsibility, and then I know we have to pay for it, right? I don't know what crossing guards cost. right?
Well-
So my position has been like, look, we dropped the, I think, and this is my opinion, I'm not opining, but I think losing 7 months, I think we dropped the ball there, which is why I think we should try to pick up the courtesy busing and make right on it for another period and let it go to referendum. I feel like that's the right thing to do, because we did wrong by the BOE by not giving them the time to plan and figure this out on our end. That's my opinion.
So
not necessarily. If we had used those 7
Sir,
months,
excuse me, sir.
if we had used those 7 months to plan and actually cut expenses on our side, it doesn't necessarily mean your taxes are going up.
So Joe, just to be clear on my opinion, and I agree, this doesn't need to be a contentious thing, and it's not my intention. The Board of Education has made the decision, it's board policy, made the decision not to move forward with courtesy busing. From that point forward, to me, it's moot. It really is. Right? There are school districts in crisis all over the state. I see another article every day. The gap, and I'll tell you that there's a couple of reasons. Number one, state statute for this is that we'll have to provide crossing guards in the areas designated. We don't have to provide sidewalks or crosswalks, it's crossing guards. So we have a ballpark understanding, not better than a ballpark understanding of the hourly rate of crossing guards. We have a crossing guard in town already. So we'll know what the multiplier is if we need more. So that's one. Two, we don't have the cash on hand to handle this. In large part, actually almost exclusively in part, because we're waiting for the grant money to come back to us from the state for the work we did in front of the school to fix the entranceway and the traffic there, right? And now there's also, I'm hearing rumors that the state may shut down, right? So the point is, and again, look, this is a reasonable debate and reasonable people can disagree. I'm not attacking you, but I'm just, my point is simple, which is we have the opportunity to do something now, we should take it. You know, if there's anything else we can do in the future, we'll look and we'll evaluate and we'll try. I don't see the opportunity to create a bridge because the finances aren't there for anybody and the board has their budget vote in 15 days.
Yeah, I agree. I get that. What I'm saying is 100%, I'm not going to argue with that. I think, again, I'd like to keep the conversation going. There's other means as we go on, like there's the Vonage pilot. Maybe we could do more there. There's got to be something better we can do, because again, we can't make up for the time that we've lost.
Yeah. So listen, if your opinion is that we vote on this and we vote in favor and we keep looking for options and opportunities, I'm okay with that. We'll always keep looking for options and opportunities. Yeah. Listen, I can't, we'll keep looking at options and opportunities. I don't want to give anybody false hope, though, because the other component of this is the Board of Education made their decision.
Right, I think that's the important key here. They've told us they are cutting courtesy busing. So whatever we raise, whatever we come up with, they're cutting courtesy busing. So if we give them money, they're going to put it towards something else.
No, we would tie it to courtesy busing, like we did last year. And again, I think, Gary, that's true, but that's also not fair. Like, we didn't give them the appropriate time. Like, I think if we had...
With them earlier this year, too, and he still didn't give us any definitive answer about courtesy busing. So we have now.
Okay, but there was a 7-month block, like June of last year to now. Like, I have a hard time figuring out, like, how is that an appropriate amount of time to plan?
When I was on the Board of Ed, we didn't even get to speak with the TC.
I know. We've been...
We met with them many times last year.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm actually very proud of what the three of us especially have done working with the Board of Ed. We've done more for the Board of Ed than anyone has in a long time. I'm proud of that. I'm sensitive to the fact that I think that we made a mistake by letting so much time go by, right? And I am concerned about public safety, and I think I heard that we don't have to build sidewalks. I know what some of these streets are like, and I know that there's a legal obligation, but I think there's a moral obligation to make sure that it's safe for our kids.
But don't
I don't think you can prioritize taxes over the safety of our
well,
kids.
but again, don't forget they're yeah, but Joe, don't forget, the board has an option to supplant courtesy busing with a subscription model. So, like, if they're going to execute on that option, which I'm told unequivocally that they're going to, then I don't want to say I don't see the problem. I understand your point, but if there's an option for people to pursue and to do this, then I'm not sure where the discussion lies. I will say I agree with you. We should continue and always continue to find ways to support the schools if we can. You and I don't disagree on that point. I think for the specific item, you and I disagree.
I want to keep the door open to it. I want to have the discussion and see if we could figure something out.
Then we'll have the discussion. That's fine. Yeah.
Are we voting now?
If discussion's concluded, you can call for a roll call.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
We're past the public hearing.
We
is
closed it already.
Well, when we do public comment, Ron, you can jump on. All right. Can you get a motion?
No, that's
No?
on the table. Just
Oh, it is on the
Wendy.
table. Wendy?
I think we're good to go.
Mr. Bontempo?
Same, no.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderham?
Yes.
Mayor Impreviduto?
Yes.
Okay. Bond ordinance 2026-13 has successfully passed. It will be published on the Township website according to law. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Administrator.
All right, I'm going to make this quick. Seems like this often lately. No, so we have bid out our road program for the year. We will have a April 22nd opening, and I hope to have them a lowest bidder for you guys to vote on for the next meeting, so we can get moving. And this is the 2025. We haven't even looked at 2026 yet. We have a list, but we haven't really looked deep into that one. So this is 2025. We did meet the other day with Hazlitt and the engineers for Bethany Road. That is going out to bid on the 17th. Bethany Road will be getting new sidewalks in certain areas, ADA compliant ones. That work will be done during the day while there'll be alternating traffic, so we don't have too much of a backup. And then the paving itself will be done at night, and it'll be done with 2 pavers at the same time. That's called echelon paving, and that'll give us the best look and the longest lifespan of that roadway. So I hope that's going to be a big improvement for both towns. And happily, Hazlitt has taken over the lead on the bidding, so all I got to do is show up and see who bid. So, and we're good. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
And Chris, the residents along Bethany will be made aware that there's going to be overnight work done?
Absolutely. That's going to go when we have our construction meeting ahead of time. There'll be lots of notices going out. Since it's a joint project, we're saving a little money on some of the engineering costs as well.
Good. Thank you. Counselor?
I don't have anything. Thanks, Mayor.
You sure?
I could try. After tonight, I think I'm good.
All right. All right, we'll move on to the committee. Committeeman Bontempo.
Thank you. IT, information technology, shared service partnership with Neptune City continues to progress positively. Jason Wegg, who's our director of IT, has done a outstanding job in kind of helping make this transition and help with their organization over in Neptune. Digital property fraud alerts. The Monmouth County Clerk's Office wants to inform homeowners about their digital property fraud alert system. Through this program, residents can sign up and receive immediate notifications if a property-related document or deed is recorded in their name and serving as a critical defense against deed theft and real estate scams out there. April Security Threat Assessment, NJ Kick, Homeland Security Office's cybersecurity team issued for their April cybersecurity bulletin, which highlighted 3 points for New Jersey residents. Multi-factor authentication. The bulletin stresses that due to advances in hacking capabilities, traditional passwords are no longer sufficient, and New Jerseyans should seriously consider multi-factor authentication apps which create a brand new one-time use password every time you log on to your accounts. In April 2026, Amazon smishing attack. NJ Kick identified a high-volume cyber attack this month that specifically targeted New Jersey residents. The attack sent fake text messages of people claiming that their Amazon membership renewal failed and that new payment method is necessary. The fake text message provides a corrupted link to a spoofed Amazon webpage used to harvest the individual's credentials, credit card details, and personally identifiable information. The bottom line, never click on a link that are sent to you via text message. Always visit a website directly using the website URL. In this case, it was Amazon.com. Residents are encouraged to report malicious cyber activity directly to the New Jersey Kick via the official website, verified by a second channel. If you receive a suspicious text or call from a vendor, bank, retail outlet, always contact the company for a number. Never provide any information via text messages where all these smishing scams out there. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeeman. Mr. Romano.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting with community development, it is March Madness Amnesty Program. So if you've done work without a permit, this is for you. Community development. I'm not singling anyone out, Matt. Community Development's March Madness Amnesty Program continues through April 30th. As a reminder, this program allows those who conducted work on their property without getting a permit to rectify the situation without penalty. Residents can apply for permits via the Township website, by phone, or by visiting the Community Development Department on the second floor of Town Hall. This is the Homedale Environmental Commission to host Earth Day celebration. Join the Homedale Environmental Commission for the annual Earth Day celebration on Sunday, April 26th, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Bayonet Farm. Explore the outdoors with a guided greenway walk or step back in time with tours of the historic Harding House. Experience up-close encounters with nature featuring presentations by the Raptor Trust and the Eyes of the Wild Mammal Show. Browse displays from the Monmouth Master Gardeners and local environmental groups. Admission, parking, and all scheduled shows are completely free. We look forward to seeing you there. From the Homedale Library, we have quite a bit of children's programming. Over the last month, the library held 16 storytime events for kids with a whopping 431 total participants. 19 young patrons joined us for Read to a Therapy Dog, one of our most popular programs. May's book club meeting will be on Tuesday, May 19th at 10 a.m., and we'll discuss the book Shelterwood by Lisa Wingate. Please check out the library's website to explore these highlights from our digital and community offerings. We have free premium resources. Use your library card to access high-quality tools at no cost, including Libby for downloadable ebooks and Rosetta Stone for professional-grade language learning. We have museum access. You can borrow complimentary museum passes through the library website, providing free admission to premier cultural institutions across New York City, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. We have a comprehensive programming schedule. Beyond digital tools, the library website is your hub for the full calendar of story times, workshops, and community events tailored for all ages. Please note, the Homedale Library will be closed on April 17th for staff training and in-service. And there is nothing to report from Public Works. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman. Mr. Vanderham.
Thank you, Mayor. The Homedale Green Team, Community Energy Plan. The Green Team is refining the Township Community Energy Plan by directly incorporating the valuable public feedback from our April 6th meeting to ensure it reflects our community's vision. Following a final review with Sustainable New Jersey, the completed plan will head to the Township Committee for its official presentation on April 28th. Thank you to all of our neighbors who took time out of their evenings to come to our public session last week. Stop by the table on Earth Day. Visit the Green Team at Bayonet Farm on the April 26th, as Committeeman Romano mentioned, to explore the future of solar energy and see how we're making Homedale more sustainable. Stop by our table for exclusive look at the Community Energy Plan and learn how these local initiatives are putting our clean energy goals into action. No comments from the Homedale Heritage Committee or the Veterans Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeeman. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. From the Board of Education, multiple high school and middle school students have earned prestigious regional and state music honors, including All Shore Symphonic Band, the NJAJE Region Jazz Ensemble, and Rutgers Honors Band. Homedale High School's Hornet Institute Career Days provided students with meaningful exposure to a wide range of career pathways. Juliana Berardi and Bradley Denton received Jersey Shore Conference scholarships in recognition of their academic excellence and community involvement. The 2026-27 school district budget was approved on March 25th following a collaborative development process. From the Recreation Department, reminder that registration is open for the swim club. Fees will go up $50 on May 2nd, so please do not wait to register. Registration is also open for the summer recreation program at Cross Farm Park. The program is held from June 22nd through July 31st from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Summer rec is open to children who have completed kindergarten, minimum age of 5, through those finishing 6th grade school this year. Registration can be completed at the Recreation Department's Rec Desk registration page. Reminder that registration for the inaugural Billy DeMeo 5K Run Walk will remain open until the day of the race on Sunday, May 3rd, 2026 at 9 a.m. Information on the race and the Billy DeMeo Foundation can be found at billydemeofoundation.com. We are encouraging all members of the Homedale community to consider participating in this event. I'm happy to report they have approximately 500 plus people already registered, so it's got a lot of groundswell. And lastly, there is still time to register for and participate in the Homedale America 250 Committee's Scavenger Hunt, which runs through April 30th. Currently, there are over 65 teams registered and participating in the event. Hosted on the Goose Chase app, which you can download on your smartphone, this scavenger hunt is a fantastic opportunity for families, friends, and neighbors to explore Homedale while learning about our local history, in particular, relation to the fight for American independence. Find out more by visiting www.homedale.gov/250. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So before I provide my report, I want to call out two announcements. One, on April 25th from 12 to 4, Saturday, April 25th from 12 to 4, we're going to be doing a Vonage open house for all residents to go, see what they're planning on doing, a full sort of display on the design, everything, under the sun, questions asked and answered, so that everybody understands, what this project will look like, should it continue to move forward. So that's April 25th, and yes? No, it's going to be at the Vonage site, That's going to be April 25th from 12 to 4. On April 28th, our next township meeting, we'll expect to introduce our budget, and we'll also do the State of Homedale presentation, similar to the one I did 2 years ago, to provide everybody with as much context and transparency as we possibly can to the town, the budget, how it works, and where our priorities lie. From this point on now, we'll wish a belated Happy Easter and Happy Passover to everyone who recently celebrated these days. We hope you enjoyed time with your friends and family. Mayor's office hours are going to be held Saturday, April 25th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., and I'm just realizing it's going to be a busy day. In the Township Committee Conference Room, and I got to tell you, I've really, really enjoyed the discussions we've had in those settings. It's just, you can tell there's folks that aren't comfortable coming to a public meeting and engaging and speaking. We just turned into some really good roundtables to talk about either particular issues that folks have questions on, or just sharing information and thoughts on the town and things of that nature. And I think it's been a really, really positive experience. The Extravaganza Egg Hunt event, I had the pleasure of attending alongside Committeeman Romano and Vanderham for the annual Easter egg hunt at Cross Farm, officially kicking off the spring season with the community. Despite the chilly weather, we saw an incredible crowd of residents come together for a day of outdoor fun and celebration. Events like these are definitely a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to connect with our neighbors, friends, and the community. So a big thank you to our Recreation and Public Works Department teams for their hard work putting this event on. And I do want to just add to that, we say it oftentimes about the rec department, but it's Public Works as well. These folks all work when nobody else is. It's a nights and weekends type of thing, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything these folks are putting into making our town great and supporting all our initiatives. From the police department, utility work on South Holland and Holland Road will continue through this Saturday and is expected to resume next Monday through Sunday until completion. To accommodate school buses, Holland Road will be closed daily from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. between Laurel Avenue and Tacaloosa South Holland intersection. From 2:30 p.m. until approximately 5 p.m., South Holland will transition to an alternating traffic pattern, so motorists should expect minor delays during the evening commute. Applications are now open for the 2026 Police Youth Academy, offering 2 sessions, August 3rd to 7th for ages 10 to 11, and August 10 to 14 for ages 12 to 13. Young recruits will get an inside look at law enforcement through interactive training in self-defense, criminal investigations, canine demonstrations, and firearm safety. This popular program is designed to strengthen self-esteem, discipline, and mutual respect between our youth and local law enforcement. The Academy is open exclusively to Homedale residents. Interested families should visit homedalepolice.gov, that's homedalepolice.gov, to apply before the May 6th, 2026 deadline. And with that, we will move to public.
Mayor,
oh, yeah?
I just have one question for Chris. Do you know, just because I had no update from Public Works, do you know when the brush pickup is going to start? Or has it started?
It
I'm
has
getting
started.
tired.
Yeah, we're in it right now. So it's a lot. So with this winter, yeah, it was rough. It was rough. And there's still we'll probably have to do some extra this year. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Wendy, would you do the voodoo you do so well?
Sure. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a public comment period for public comment on any governmental issue of public concern. In accordance with Resolution 2022 to 17, public commenters are asked to raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the mayor before coming forward and making public comments. Commenters are asked to state their full name and address before commenting. Public commenters are limited to one comment, not to exceed 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the mayor and township committee. If appropriate, the mayor may direct and recognize a staff employee or professional to respond to comments either at this meeting or in writing after this meeting.
Thank you, Wendy. One comment per, 3 minutes each. Who wants to roll first? Young lady in the back.
Hello, Jess Smokin, 9 Catbird Alley. I just wanted to comment about my brush and leaf pickup. There were collections that began on both 11/2 and 11/30/2025. I'm not sure if you're familiar with my street, but it's extremely wooded. It's mostly township property. There's maybe less than 10 houses. So what the DPW does is they'll go to the piles in front of the 10 houses, leaving the remainder of the street a complete mess with leaves. So it was overlooked those 2 pickups. I spoke with the head of the DPW. He told me they would go around with the street sweeper earlier this year. It was never done. The street is still completely covered with leaves on both sides, unlike anything else I see in Homedale. What I did, I work full time, I have 3 kids, but I went out with the leaf blower and I leaf blew along the sides of the street and I made piles, a good 15, 20 of them along the street with all brush, sticks. Took me hours. They came today and they only picked up the brush in front of the 10 houses and they left all the other piles that I put in the street, including the ones I have a long property. They only picked up the one right in front of my driveway and left all the other piles in my wooded area. So I'm just, coming here on record to say, what's going on with my street? When is it going to be cleaned?
Okay. Chris, we got to have a conversation with Brian and see what's going on
I'll
there.
find out what happened. That's
I've been in contact with him. He's well aware of my issues with the street, and
I'll take a ride out there tomorrow, and then I'll have a discussion.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Oh, maybe. I don't know if I could also add about my street. I guess we were supposed to be paved last year, and we weren't. Are we still on track to pave this year?
I do not remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the list. I don't have the list in front of me right now. But if you'd call my office, probably tomorrow, I'll be able to tell you where we are with that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Yes, sir.
Hi, Vince Belcastro, 16 Orchard Avenue. I just wanted to thank the Township Committee for helping with our concerns with this 7 brew that's going up on 35 and Miller. I did reach out to Mr. Dugan, the lawyer involved with the 7 brew. I haven't heard a response yet. I'm not sure if the township heard a response back from their letter.
I'll respond to you if you just want to finish, go through it.
That's it. That's it. I just appreciated the help. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you for the regards, and just for the public's benefit, just to give everyone a little context, the gentleman and some of his neighbors at prior meetings had expressed concerns about the 7 brew that is about to open across from Costco, which is located in Hazlet, but there's the residential subdivision up Miller Avenue, which is Homedale. We did reach out to the applicant, the attorney for the applicant who developed the 7 brew, and reminded them of their application, the land use board approval and the restrictions. I did get a call from them, and they were very engaged, and expressed that if there are any specific issues that come up, that they would be happy to chat with us about it. So it was a positive response. So I will convey that. As to whatever you offered specifically, we're kind of in a position where they don't really have any legal obligation to engage with anyone individually because they have their approval, but there is a line of communication between the township and these folks if is needed in the future. So I appreciate your comment.
Thank you, Counselor. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Reddy.
Pete Reddy, 7 Rustic Lane.
Man of the hour.
Yeah, right. First off, thanks. This is the 2nd meeting in a row. I've never been to even 1 meeting in a row, so 2nd. So thanks for passing our ordinance. Obviously, we'll have our work to do over the next couple of meetings. I think next Wednesday and Wednesday after that. Working with Chris, you'll be talking to our BA. a couple of things I heard tonight was subscription busing. Yes, we are looking into that. So in our next couple of meetings, we'll be talking about that. If there's the interest, and we've already reached out to neighboring districts that are already offering it and what the program is, because obviously this is uncharted territory for us. And then we did last year, we conducted a study looking where crossing guards and things like that is. So I'm sure the transportation director and the BA will be in touch with Chris and everyone else. So
Spoke to them today. I'm expecting it by the end of the week.
yeah,
Great.
So thank you again. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate your partnership. Mr. Chiskita?
Patrick Triskita, 56 Line Road. I have 4 questions. I'll say them first so I keep within my 3 minutes. What is the status of converting over to county dispatch for emergency services in Homedale? And will there be a public announcement and protocols given to the residents on how they should set up their private alarm systems and their medical alert systems? So if we're going forward, and I think it's coming close, how do we handle our alarm system, medical alert systems? Question 1. Question 2 is, what is the status of the redevelopment agreement with Crawford Hill Holdings about the Bell Labs building on Homedale Road that's been vacant for 6 years? Okay. Number 3, what is the status of the eminent domain lawsuit against James Naranjo for the 48 acres on Beer Street? And finally, number 4 is, what is the status of the demolition work up at Robert Wilson Park?
Okay, thank you. So Chris, if you can provide us with an update on the county dispatch status, and then we'll turn 1 or 2 of these over to Mike.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you want me to do 1 and 4. So
I was gonna say take 4 too. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's go with 1. Could you just remind just quickly?
Okay.
Just, what was that again?
Okay, the status of converting
Dispatch. Got
over
it. Got it.
to county dispatch, and then is there going to be a notice so that residents know?
Residents don't have to
what-
do anything different. Okay, so right off the bat, residents don't have to do anything different. So if they still use our main not emergency number for it's going to go right to the county. So they won't know the difference. It'll be answered as Homedale Police. They will not know that difference.
I don't have to
So
program anything.
and 911 is the same. So it's always been going to the county. So we are on track for May. We're going to be a little. I'm being told we might be a little delayed by a few weeks due to training purposes, but we're working through those issues right now. It's not affecting us because, again, our dispatchers, most of them, majority of them, are actually transferring to the county to become dispatchers there. Or, I just found out today, some might be going to Marlboro. Marlboro's a 911 center as well, and they're actually looking for somebody, so now they have options. So it's up to them what they want to do. And then going to 4 Dr. Wilson's Park, we are at the point where we're almost ready to go out to bid on it. Once we go out to bid on it, then we'll find out who's going to be the lowest bidder to go and do all the work, the demolition work. And part of that demolition work is going to be the opening as well. We're combining it all together, so there's no, it's not just demolition, it's demolition and getting it open. So we're going to try to get it safe. So everything is in that, they're going to be in that bid to do that. And then as you said earlier, and as thank you, the committee has actually approved it as well. Then we also can go for more stuff under the other grant, which we should get because, again, we did win the original part of that grant, which was the study, and now it'll be the implementation grant. So kind of like the Safe Streets, it's the same kind of thing. You do one and then you get the other. So yes, that's where we are with those 2 things. Michael could take the rest of them.
And Mike, before you jump in, just really quickly, I want to emphasize for those that aren't aware, the move to county dispatch is actually something that's going to be better for the residents. There's going to be, to the point Chris made, no change in terms of their protocol with alarms and et cetera, but there's proven to be faster response times, better connectivity with neighboring towns who are already on county dispatch, so there's no disconnect in systems or communication, and a better overall sort of response and an improvement to public safety. Not in any way, shape, or form a diminishment of the work the folks were doing here, but the technology, the systems, and the interconnectivity is actually going to provide us, with a better level of service. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, all good. So first, I think, was a question about the status of the Crawford Hill redevelopment. The redeveloper did recently submit a set of plans which involve the proposed reinvigoration of the building consistent with the redevelopment plan and parking improvements to the front of the building as necessary, I guess, to occupy it with the proposed use. That is pending Township Committee consistency review, which they'll review in executive session at our next meeting, after which the applicant can proceed before the planning board in the normal course. The redeveloper has asked for a slight further extension under the redevelopment agreement as part of their submission, because they are a little behind the timelines in the agreement.
And how much is that? What's a slight extension?
They asked for 2 months. So they did submit the plans. I actually sent them a letter asking for them to clarify certain portions because some aspects weren't clear, and we want to make sure that they're doing everything at once. There's no phasing of this. Everything needs to happen at once to be acceptable, and ultimately it's up to the committee. On the Narango condemnation, I'm just paraphrasing a letter that was submitted to the court and is filed, but the court appointed an attorney to represent the interests of Ms. Pappas, who passed away and was the longtime owner of the property. That attorney has written the court essentially contending that she will be filing applications on Ms. Pappas's estate's behalf to assert an interest in the property relative to our condemnation of it. As a result, the judge has entered an order essentially freezing the condemnation process while prohibiting Mr. Narango from transferring the property, and we've also filed a lease pendant against the property so that there's something in the chain of title preventing transfer. But we're going to have to allow that probate process to proceed before the township will be in court, but the property is prohibited from being transferred.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Mr. Emma.
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. Just a comment and then a question. I know the BOE president is present tonight, so I would just make a suggestion that the $1 million proceeds from the Addy House, if in fact that money is going to go for a rainy day fund, I don't see any downside to rejecting that money because there's no urgent need for it if it's going in a rainy day fund, and then actually put the property up for public sale. And if you don't get the $1.030 million that it's appraised for, I don't see a downside in coming back to this board in the coming months or the coming year to do that again. It seems to me like a win-win situation to reject the $1 million right now, go to the public, see what you can get, and if it fails, you come back, and I'm sure you're going to have a willing TC that will entertain the same kind of arrangement that is proposed tonight. That's my comment. My question is this. Last year, when you gave the $600,000 to the BOE, Mr. Romano, I think you referenced this a couple of meetings ago, there was specific language in that $600,000 that it should go towards courtesy busing. It was specific language that had to go to that.
No, it's actually technically inaccurate. I just want to make sure we get it right. The language in the $600,000 was to go to improvements for the school.
But Joe, didn't you say there was some sort of language in there
Maybe
for
Mike,
busing?
you could weigh in. I believe that there was a provision that if they accepted the money for the services, they had to continue courtesy busing or something along those lines.
That's correct.
So so my question is exactly that. Why not with this $1 million? Can't we do that? Say something that put in that same type of provision?
Because the Board of Education last year asked us to put it to do that. They asked us to help courtesy busing. This year, the Board of Education does not want to support courtesy busing any longer.
But then,
so why would we force something?
Okay, let me explain. You're making a public statement by saying, we, the Township Committee, wants to help you and give you $1 million, but we, as a board, think it should go towards courtesy busing. Then you're putting it on the BOE to say,
I didn't say
we don't want your $1 million because we want to put it in on a rainy day fund rather than listening to the residents and putting it towards courtesy busing.
But that's, John, Ron, it's an incorrect statement. Like, some members of the board said it should go to courtesy busing. Many members didn't. You're saying the committee said that. The committee didn't say that.
No. You're saying the Board of Ed has told you that they're going to do away with courtesy busing. The point is this.
They've made a public statement about it. They didn't just tell me. It's public.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine. You put the same language in there with a provision that it has to be used for it. Let them reject it, and then see where the chips fall. What's the downside of putting that same provision in there, that the proceeds that from the Addy house goes towards courtesy busing? I don't understand.
Because it's
why
not,
he-
well, I'll give you two things. One, you should go have a conversation with the Board of Ed. You should go to a Board of Ed meeting and express your opinion on that. That's where the conversation belongs.
Rocco, I'm
Number
not
one.
disputing that.
Right,
I know
that's
what,
number
I know
one,
what your,
but,
what
you
your
know.
purview is, and I know what their purview is.
Yeah.
My question is, why can't you put similar language that Mr. Romano was referring to last year for the proceeds of the $1 million for the Addy house?
I'll give you two reasons. One, the Board of Education has already expressed their interest in no longer continuing courtesy busing. So for us to force that issue doesn't make sense. That's number one. Number two, anything done with that money this year is a stopgap for 1 year, nothing more, nothing less. And then they're going to be in the same position they are next year. I actually credit the board and board leadership. They're making hard decisions this year, and they had to, right? Like, things are challenging. This was their decision. I don't weigh in on. I'm not going to tell the Board of Education what to do with the money.
No one's asking you to tell them.
Well,
We
you
know
are. You're looking
can't
to
tell.
force their hand.
No. Let's be clear. I'm asking you to make a public request. Let them say no. You know they're going to say no. They've already publicly said no. Then it's on the Board of Ed to come up and say, why aren't we going to do public busing?
But Ron, to the point you just raised, they've already said no. It's already on them. What would me applying pressure to them do if they're going to say no again anyway? Like, I'm a little bit lost in the logic, and I'm not trying to challenge you or be difficult.
Well,
I just don't quite. If they've already, you just said it. They've already said no and have no interest in pursuing it. Then I put public pressure on them, and they say no anyway. And then, I mean, what's the end
point is
game
this,
for it?
The point
I
is
guess?
this:
Yeah.
resident after resident after resident has come up here and asked, and again, I know what your purview is, has asked and given their opinion on courtesy busing. We totally understand that's not your decision.
Right.
However, why wouldn't you come out and say this township committee is for courtesy busing?
Because I don't speak for all 5 members of the committee, and Committeeman Von Temple's already expressed an interest in not providing anything to the schools. So I can't speak for him, and that would only be, I don't know, that's 1 out of 5 that already
That's
said
not
no.
an accurate statement. I said I prefer they go out to referendum and then come back to us after the referendum. I'm in favor of supporting the schools. I'm in favor of them getting percentage of the pilot money as well. So don't put words in my mouth. I did not say that.
It's interesting to me that you're in favor of things that you never did. I
You
really,
set up,
it really
you
is
set up the
baffling to me.
pilot. You made the vote in 2016. You never once said, let's help the schools.
You were not in executive session. You have no idea what was.
I watched your video where you said, let's make a motion. It's not going to affect the schools. Let's move forward.
That's not.
It's
you
on
were not
YouTube.
in
It's
executive
on
session.
YouTube now, Greg.
You were not in executive session. You have no idea what the conversation
I
was.
was watching the public.
What I
It
do
has
know,
nothing to do with what happened in executive
what I do
session.
know is you were mayor for 3 years and never once gave pilot money to the schools. So,
But if Mayor, if I just could respond to Ron as well. Ron, as we keep having these meetings between last year and this year with the Board of Ed leadership, and they're telling us what they want to have happen and how we can help them with their budget. If they're telling us no, I agree with the mayor. Why are we going to try to force something down their throat when they're saying we're not going to take it? I don't know why you want to drum up and throw it out in the public to put that out there. We had the conversations. They made it clear this is not going towards that. So for us, we're moving forward. Joe, you weren't part of those meetings, but go ahead, please.
No, but you know, it's hard. And I don't want to put like words. I know Pete's here, but I watched the last BOE meeting, and I'm pretty sure that they had expressed that the original ask was for courtesy busing, and they thought it would be an easy win or something along those lines. I think that was the comment made at the BOE meeting, and for whatever reason that didn't go forward or it sat for a while. So I think, you know, they were initially, and again, I can't speak for the board, but it sounded like from that meeting they were looking for the same sort of relief. They didn't get it and pivoted. And again, I wasn't part of those meetings, so I don't know. But I mean, I listened to the meeting, I listened to Pete, I listened to Cascone. That's kind of what it sounded like.
that's not the case this year. I can tell you that. I can tell you that in all sincerity. That's not the case this year. As
Pete,
I'm
do you
not
remember
gonna
that comment I was talking about in that meeting?
Do you want to come up, Pete? And Ron, just could I, before the board president speaks, I think the more productive conversation that perhaps you should introduce or have is going to a Board of Ed meeting and asking the Board of Ed how they plan for and execute subscription busing mechanism as a way to, backstop the absence of courtesy busing. I think that's the more productive, forward-thinking part of the conversation. Go ahead.
I think
Pete,
the only
sorry.
thing I'll say on behalf of myself, because I'm not speaking on behalf of the entire board, is Yeah, the board, generally speaking, would never say no to any additional money, right? That's just obvious, right? But I do know that over the last couple of years, the Board of Education spent $1 million the last 2 years, so our maintenance reserves are below the state authorized mandate. Meaning, when we submit our budget to the county's going to come back to us and say, Homedale School District, you're below that number. That's when state monitoring comes in and other things come in. So the money from the potential house sale of the Lubkert house will be able to bring us above the state mandated levels. Being below is not a good thing. It's not where you want to be. It's not where you need to be, and it's actually, you need to be above that. So they would want a plan of how are you going to get above that. And if we didn't have this purchase, we'd have to probably either make hard decisions of sending more people home or cutting more programs or finding the money somewhere else. So this is going to be a big help for the school district. So,
Pete, I was actually talking about the comment you had made at the meeting where you said that initially the ask was for courtesy busing. You thought it was an easy. I don't remember if it was you or Cascone that said that. Do you know? You
I
remember
think it
what
was
I'm
probably Dr. Cascone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, I mean,
It's
there's
neither here
budgets
nor
and-
there, but it
yeah.
was said, and it's like.
All I'm going to say is, of course, we wouldn't say no to anything. But you guys have your budgets. We have your lane. We have our budget. You have your budget. But I just wanted to say that about the mandates where we have to be above. That's the reason why the timing is so critical, because April 29th is when the budget has to be submitted to Trenton.
So it's
and
fair
they'll
to
want
s-
an answer
And
by
to-
then and a plan.
Yeah, and to clarify, Joe, in the meeting that we had with the board leadership, the initial ask this year in either January or February was to help with courtesy busing and other items. The board changed their position on that. We agreed to find ways to help. The board changed their position, and so we're still providing the help, thankfully, for the vote this evening, for the differing priorities or the change in priority there. That's where it went. Pete, we talked about this.
Yeah.
There's nothing controversial about that in that
Thank
regard. Anyone else? Yes.
Sarah Cho, 4 Putnam Court. So there was a meeting in February of 26 regarding the courtesy busing with the board leadership. When you say board leadership, are you talking about board president Pete Reddy and the entire board, or are there specific individuals you had that discussion with?
Myself, deputy mayor, board president, board vice president, our administrator, our attorney, and the board BA, and their attorney. No board. Okay, and then our CFO as well. Yep.
Okay, so not the entire board of ed. So just a board president and, is it vice president? Sorry, Kim. Okay. And then when you say they reversed positions, when did that meeting happen?
No, we had continuing discussions after that meeting. There was an initial ask that could be tied to certain items. In the subsequent discussions, I don't have an exact timeline in my head. There's been many discussions since. The board, when looking at their budget and getting the teacher's contract through, made a different decision for where the priorities lie in terms of where the money goes.
Can you tell us exactly when that decision was conveyed to you as mayor?
When did I send out the social media post?
For the Addy House? Or
Yeah, the one that you mentioned earlier.
It was the night before the Board of Ed meeting, the
Okay.
last Board of Ed meeting.
Okay, so probably that evening?
That evening, the Board of Ed board president told you that they didn't need the funds anymore?
No, they didn't say they needed the funds.
Oh.
They didn't say they need the funds. They said they're going to put the money's going to go to their, I keep calling it the rainy day fund. I think that's the colloquial term for it. That's where they're going to put the money. And that was where I made the mistake. I didn't catch that when they originally told me.
And to be clear, it's just a conversation between you and the board president, Pete Reddy. It
Yeah.
wasn't with Kim and with the attorney and with the BA and the superintendent.
In that instance, no. That's right. It was a
So-
conversation between the two.
Okay. So I guess, is that how the communications happen? I just don't know.
The
what's
communications can
legal
happen with
and-
formal meetings. They can happen as two township leaders talking about issues with the town, or just two people talking about things, right? The communications can happen in a variety of different ways, and they tend to happen in a variety of different ways.
Okay, so from my understanding then, it's purely a Pete Reddy decision to not continue
Well, I don't
or
think-
not pay for courtesy busing
You-
out of the Addy
that's-
house.
You need to go to the Board of Ed and ask them that question. I can't speak for them. You have to go to the Board of Ed and ask them that question.
Right. That's why I'm asking.
Because
Was
they
there a
passed, 'cause-
formal?
but,
was-
but they passed a budget without courtesy busing. And it was, I think it was like a 9-0 vote.
Yeah, it
right?
was.
So,
I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there.
So
but
clearly Pete speaks for the board.
No, I was there, and it wasn't actually. It was encouraged that we would come before the township committee to ask for that courtesy busing funding. So, there's a disconnect between what happened.
There's no disconnect for me. Pete just said what he's going to use the money for, what the board's going to use the money for. I don't see any, there's no daylight between us.
Yeah, it's just that I think Pete also recognizes that he doesn't speak on behalf of the entire board. So I just want to make it clear to the public who is a deciding person about courtesy
Everything, just like
busing.
this governing body, comes to a vote, they voted. And so I think, again,
Okay,
if
so
you have
they
a question,
voted, so
if, if you have a I mean, they voted.
No,
right?
I'm going to ask the Board of Ed.
It's them. It's not for this forum. It really isn't.
Yeah, so from what I understand, based on your knowledge, the Board of Ed has voted on the fact that they are going to do subscription busing.
They voted- no.
And they don't want funds from the township committee.
I
That's
really,
what they voted
it's
on.
really, really important that you listen to the words the board president has said and to the words that I'm saying, because I don't think you are. Okay? What Pete has said just now and what I said earlier is that the board is pursuing subscription busing options as a backstop to the elimination of courtesy busing. Pete just said he's looking at what neighboring towns are doing so that they can get this operating the right way, and they're already talking to residents and sending out surveys to do that. Pete, I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken in what I just said. There you go. Okay, so that's what he just said. What I've also said is that the board voted on their budget. The budget did not include courtesy busing.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know what I thought it was 9-0. I could be wrong about that. So if it was,
you're right.
okay,
No,
so
you're
if it
right.
was
And-
9-0,
yep.
then Pete's not speaking for himself. He's speaking on behalf of the board that voted 9-0 to eliminate courtesy busing.
And it was discussed during that Board of Ed meeting very heavily that we should come to the township committee to ask for that. And it's become clear to me that the actual discussion about the Board of Ed moving towards subscription busing wasn't in a formal setting with an attorney, with the business administrator, or anybody except for, it sounds like, a private conversation between Mayor Rocco and Board President Pete
No,
Reddy.
that's also not accurate.
I have an email today from the superintendent who says they're going the route of subscription busing.
That would be wonderful to see that.
He
yeah.
sent me an email saying they're going towards the subscription
So
busing.
it was the superintendent's decision?
Who said that to me? No, he's not his decision. He says that's what they're going to be looking into. Nobody's made.
To be looking into,
Right.
But so then he has taken off the table then the discussion to ask the township committee for
They haven't asked anything of us
funding.
for that. No. They say when I called up, and I'll give you an example as well. The same time in the last meeting, the same night that we found out that they weren't going to do courtesy busing, the Board of Ed business administrator said no, courtesy busing's been cut from the budget.
I think where
so
people
the
get
email,
tripped.
so the so. go
Sorry,
ahead.
Ms.
Go
Joe.
ahead.
I think what is confusing for residents, and I feel this too, is that there is this ping-ponging back and forth, right? The Board of Ed has their meeting and says we have to cut it because we don't have the money for it, but go talk to the Township Committee about funding courtesy busing, and then the Township Committee says we can't do that because the Board of Ed doesn't want it. And that is confusing. I agree with you there.
It is, and I think it's very obvious to me, and again, Joe, this is not directed at you. There are folks that are playing politics with this, and it benefits them to create disruption and ping-pong this stuff around. Our position's been really consistent. We're going to do everything we can to support the schools. Any discussion around courtesy busing or board policy or anything in relation to that sits with the Board of Education. That's where the discussion must happen, period. There is no other discussion on it to be had.
Chris, could you advise the public when the superintendent sent you that email, please?
He
And
sent
can
me that email Friday. Friday? No, Monday. Monday of this week, but we sent, so Monday of this week I received his saying that the courtesy busing, that he was gonna do subscription busing.
Are you speaking of April 13th Monday? Because
Yes.
today's, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
what's today
Yeah,
again?
yeah.
It's
So
Tuesday.
he said, in his email, it says they're going for subscription busing. That is his plan.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, I don't know what else to say, but that's the plan. I mean, that's his plan to go forward. I don't know what their official plan is. That's up
Okay.
to the board.
Yeah, and the time's up now. Does anybody else have any public comment to be made? We've hit 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Mr. Weisfeld.
And if my wife's watching, and Brian, you know, I only got 3. I don't know how you do 4. Really quick, Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside Lane, dispatch. It's gone?
It's not gone yet. It's going to
Yes.
be moving. It's going to be transitioning over to the county. We're going to retain many of the people that are already in our dispatch function are going to go over there.
Okay.
It's going to be an upgrade to facilities. It's going to be an upgrade to response time and responsivity and interconnectivity with neighboring towns.
Now, I'm
and it's
ki-
going to be about $400,000 in savings. Is that right? About $400,000 in cost savings.
I'm kind of split on this because on one hand I like the idea. I don't know. Again, I'm missing some stuff, but and cost in there. On one hand, I like the idea of overflow and things like that from county, whatever the heck all that stuff is on the ambulance side and things like that. Pat, I'm with you on that one. The dispatch, I've been in situations in the past in life where you go to a police department to get the dispatch, and then there's a phone, then you have to answer it, and you talk to some guy over in county. Is that and again, maybe I don't know. Like, is that what we're leading to? And did we retain the jobs of everybody? And are they willing to go to a different spot?
Actually, it's better for them to go to a different spot because they're actually going to make more money. I'm pretty sure with the county than they are with us.
Yeah, they significantly make more money. So we're not a 911 center. So we're a straight dispatch center. So 911 doesn't come here anyway.
And the fire department's already on
yeah,
county
fire
dispatch
department
also.
already transferred over there. Every town around us except for Marlboro, which is a 911 center, did not. That's because they're still a 911 center. So every town around us has already switched. So our guys are on their little island by themselves now. So they really have no connection to the county without this. They are, most of them are going over. We have 2 who chose not to. And it's not because they just don't want to be dispatchers anymore. They want to go. We have a part-timer and a full-timer who are looking to do something else. But everybody else has already put in for their transfers to the county.
I think what Matt is asking is after working hours at 5 o'clock, there's not going to be somebody at the desk.
Yes.
There's going to be a phone that you
There
have to call.
will be a
right?
phone, and then they will dispatch somebody to from either the road or the supervisor will be in the building because they have multiple supervisors on and lieutenants work, so they'll be able to come and answer the questions you have. But that'll be only past after hours. But again, that's pretty typical of what's going on now throughout the county because of the.
Well, I don't know if that's the.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's a nice island that we're on, personally, just because of I just think they're great. And now again, I don't know. Maybe this will be better.
I think it's more of a safety issue than it is anything else. They don't
It's
even. Yeah, that's a safety issue. Yeah, they can't even speak to town next to us. They're
Yeah.
on totally different.
That's it. I mean, so think about it. A car gets stolen, right? And you got to dispatch.
And we have a nice history of that one. Actually, in my
Yeah.
neighborhood, it was like a freaking car ring.
Right. Thankfully, it's down considerably right over the past several years. But just take that as an example. We have no connectivity to neighboring towns in any meaningful way. So it's actually more difficult to pursue or to apprehend or do any of those things. Or and by the way, we don't have good enough connectivity with our own fire department because they're already on county, right? So this is a public safety matter, period, right? Like that's why this was done, because it's going to streamline our response times and it's going to improve and create
Just
efficiency.
in the past, I've yelled at a phone in a past situation where it's just like, good Lord. And that's why it's a. And then the other thing is, those who went over, if we call from Homedale and call 911, will it be the Homedale dispatchers, or am I going to get some guy in Marlboro who means well but has no clue, or I'm on this street, oh yeah, and then 30 minutes later and I've bled out?
Yep.
Homedale will have its own desk.
Yeah.
It
Homedale
may
has-
not be our people, but they'll have our.
Oh, yeah, that's big though, because it's
No,
not our
look,
people. They don't know the area.
Yeah, there's no way to guarantee that.
I'll leave it at that.
size of a
Again,
center.
We're gonna have our own desk at the county to provide the response. Like, this is not, again, this is an improvement to public safety first and foremost. Period. Better technology, more consistent staffing because we have folks from dispatch that are continually in and out, and better responsivity over time. That's what this is. That's how the decision was made. Because we don't have to maintain and upgrade equipment constantly every year, And because we're not responsible directly for the hiring and rehiring of dispatch personnel, amongst other things, there's also about a $400,000 annual cost savings that comes with it. So it's going to be better public service with a reduced cost.
I hope you guys are right. Just from my own experience, I haven't, but again, I'm looking forward to get proven wrong. So I always like the idea, you own the building, you don't have to worry about the rent going up, or metaphorically. Anyway, guys, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once? No, only one comment per.
No, this is the regarding the county.
Only one per.
EMS.
We're only doing one comment per. Lance?
How we doing? Lance, Loopy, Line Road. So just actually, I wasn't going to start with this, but I'll start with this. So today at my business, I had an experience with the county 911 for emergency services. Didn't go very well. So I just want to share that anecdote. It has nothing to do with Homedale. This was in Hazlitt. But every day I see the Monmouth County Sheriff's Department ambulances pass by my business, and I believe that they dispatch out of our facility.
From time to time.
Okay.
Now, by the way, we haven't missed a call since
I'm not saying
we've been supplemented,
like I
to
said,
be clear.
This has nothing to do with. I'm just
All right.
just experience. That's all. So I had a person visiting today. They had an incident. I needed an ambulance for them. Called 911. 30 minutes.
In Hazlitt.
In Hazlitt. No Hazlitt.
Just-
And now I know there's a strain on, and we have the same problem. Strain on volunteers and things like that. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Well,
I'm just sharing.
Fair
Okay?
enough. We've had MedStar for over a year now, and
Uh-huh.
we haven't missed a call.
I got
And
you.
our response times have improved.
And that's
So-
awesome. And I hope that
So
that's
it's
the
working
case.
for Homedale. I can't speak for other towns.
Of course. So I'm just letting you know, 30 minutes, and the Hackensack Meridian showed up, and the two people that showed up for that call seemed like they might need me to call EMS for them.
I would certainly talk to.
So fortunately, everything has worked out so far. It seems good.
Good.
Comment you made earlier about the school entrance dollars not being recovered yet, so we're out. And maybe I misheard. So
yeah, I'll let you
clarify.
let's
Let me
go through your
finish because
thing.
I'm gonna blow through a bunch of stuff here. School budget, obviously a lot of talk about that. Courtesy busing. I'm kind of on the fence about that. Obviously, I benefited from it having a student. We live far away from the school, so I benefited from it. Not a big fan of my taxes going up. So, I'm not really sure where I lie, but what I will say is about a year ago or so, I think I made a comment about, the school budget, them not being in perfect financial shape, and I got kind of lambasted about, that was an untrue statement, and obviously that wasn't totally untrue because it seems like we're still I'm not saying by who, I'm just saying that people on that dais, okay, and people in the audience said that that was an inaccurate statement, but it doesn't seem like it was so inaccurate,
I think
right?
it's-
There's obviously a cost problem, right? Okay. The roads, can we get some clarity on the location? I know you said to the Parkway Bridge, so if you can clarify that to which side that is. I'm still not 100% sure on the shared services agreement. Do we have two shared service agreements with Neptune? Because, okay, so it sounds like we're not the lead, but in the document from the first one, we are the lead. But so please correct me. I know I'm not
That's
right.
just real quick.
So
That's
hold
just
on,
a
I want to
grant.
get my 3 minutes. I'm going to get yelled at here. The property theft on the county that the county offers, I think we should put that in like a newsletter or on our website because that's something I took advantage of. Thankfully, no emails yet, but thank you for bringing that up. I noticed on a couple other items on the line on the our costs. There was, I guess, a couple residents got damage reimbursement for mailbox damage from snow removal. My mailbox was damaged both storms. I didn't get any. I didn't recover any money. And then just some clarity on the loan for the house. So the town, through the school, paid $600,000 for the house. Plus, I guess there's interest on that loan plus maintenance. And now we're going to buy it for $1 million. So the town residents paid $1.6 million for a property. So please correct me where I'm wrong. And Joe, thank you for your comments tonight. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to try to get these in order, Lance. The state budget pass is supposed to go through, I think, June 30th. Chris, is that correct?
That's what we hope.
Yeah, so if the state budget goes through June 30th as it should, we get the remainder of the reimbursement grant, which we used for the entrance to the high school. So that's what we're waiting on. It was a 2-year, the grant was split over 2 years, and it was a reimbursement grant. So we did the work, and they reimbursed us for the work, basically. That's that one. Chris, I didn't quite understand the Parkway Bridge comment, so could we skip over quickly to the Neptune Shared Service
Okay,
clarification?
I could do both.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't quite.
So yeah, so Bethany, it's going to be Bethany between the Parkway Bridge and the train tracks. So that's it's gonna. So I will give you, if you give me a chance tomorrow, I will send you the map. I actually got the map because I don't really understand I'm still learning the town. So, but I will take care of getting that for you. What was it? Neptune City? They are the lead. They're the lead for the grant and the grant only. It's just a terminology I'm using. It's their grant, not our grant. They need us to be their partner so they can get the grant. It has nothing to do with us at all. It's just we have to sign off saying that we are going to stay with a shared service with them so they can get the money from the state.
And they pay us for that shared service.
They pay us each year. They pay $30,000 for that service.
Mailbox reimbursement.
We have an ordinance in town that if your mailbox gets damaged and you get it to us in a reasonable amount of time, you can get up to $50 for a replacement mailbox.
Chris, who do they contact for that?
DPW.
And Lance, I think in your case, you have to decide whether it was Aberdeen or us that did it. Okay.
And understanding that we did get a few that wanted a lot more than that. But those were sent to our insurance company, and I believe they were ultimately denied. I'm not sure the insurance company is going to pick that up, but some people had brass mailboxes that cost like $400. So I think it's the last time they'll have a brass mailbox.
Yep. And the loan for Addie's house, I didn't quite understand the point. We are bonding out of the open space fund for that. The appraised cost is $1,030,000.
My question was that the school board, with tax dollars, bought the house for $600,000. Right now we're buying it for $1 million. So the taxpayers paid $1.6 million for that property. So, and plus interest on the bonds, plus maintenance over the time that it's been owned. Is that an accurate statement?
At 1.6, because the 6 went to the family, right? The family got the $600,000 when they sold it to the Board of Ed. Now we're buying it from the Board of Ed, so that's still one pocket moving to the other. The family got their $600, they're out of the equation.
With the taxpayers,
Right, but the taxpayers
are paying that.
paid $600,000 for the house.
Yes.
And the family got the $600,000. Now the town is borrowing $1 million to pay for a house that we already paid $600,000. That the taxpayers, not the town, not the school, that the taxpayers already paid $600,000
Yeah.
for.
Yes.
So we're paying $1.6 million plus interest, plus maintenance, for a house that was originally purchased for $600,000 that the town could have. Not saying any of you were up there or were up there, not up there, whatever. The point is, the town's paying $1.6 million for a house that we already own and only paid $600,000 for.
Yeah, and
that's an accurate statement. That's all I'm trying to.
It's an accurate statement,
Get to the bottom.
and the simple answer to it is the schools need the money, and we're helping, and we have the ability to do it without raising taxes on our side, at least. And that's what we're doing.
Sort. You raise taxes to get the open space fund.
Oh, I didn't raise taxes. I didn't raise taxes to get the open space fund.
Well,
yeah.
You meaning
it was voted on. Right.
I didn't vote for it.
Kids, but
I never vote for a tax increase ever.
It's aware. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but the town paid for it, right? Twice.
I mean, I can't speak to how the Board of Ed's booked it, but essentially, the sale price would cover what they purchased for and put that back in their pocket, and then the delta, I guess, would reflect the appreciation between the purchase price, which presumably was for fair market value at an arm's length transaction, and what it's valued at now. And I would say that from the township's perspective, there is a value in using the open space trust fund, because now it is actually going to be preserved for open space purposes, whereas as the board continues to own the property, it could potentially sell it for purposes that could allow for development. So, you could look at it however you'd like, but I don't
Well, I'm not disputing
See
the
it.
fact of that, but the fact, there's
Yeah,
no
Les,
way to
I-
look
look,
at it.
I-
The fact is the town of Homedale, whether it was the Board of Ed's
Yep.
checkbook or the Township Committee's checkbook,
Yep.
paid for $1.6 million plus interest on those loans or bond, whatever, however that was financed through the Board of
Right.
Ed, plus maintenance every year for a property that we originally only paid $600,000 for.
Yeah, so we.
That's a fact. Well, I'm just saying,
Look,
there's
it's-
no way you look at it. That's
No,
the
that's
fact.
exactly, listen, no one's
No, I know, but
disputing
that's
that,
what-
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what
No, no,
our
look,
attorney said.
Yeah, no, I'm not disputing how
Yeah.
you're looking at it. I'm simply saying, we had the ability and the means to help the schools this year, and we're helping the schools this year.
I'm not challenging that. I'm just asking the
Yeah.
question: did we pay
Yeah.
1.6 million for something?
You
we
can
already
question
owned
whether or
for
not it
600?
should have been purchased by the Board of Ed 6 years ago.
Sure.
Right? I mean, frankly, the town probably should have stepped in and bought it 6 years ago. Is probably what should have happened. But many of us weren't up here.
And again, I'm not pointing fingers at any one person. I'm just clarifying.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Go once, going twice? Yeah. Yeah, come on.
Pete Franco, 5 Hopper Lane. Subscription busing, not courtesy busing. That's
That-
paid for by.
That's paid for by the people that'll use it.
Okay,
But
so-
I would ask that question of the Board of Ed, at a Board of Ed meeting, not here.
So who's going to pay for it for people that can't afford it and so on and so forth? I have to ask them?
You have to ask the Board of Education.
Okay. Vonage. Let's talk Vonage real quick.
Sure.
Can I ask Mike a question?
You can ask the mayor a question if he wants me to answer.
Okay. So we know the financial situation with the developer, let's say. If the additional phases are sold off because they do have a habit of doing it, you can look it up, it's public record, it's everywhere. What happens with the redevelopment agreement to whoever buys it? Does it get transferred? Is it in the wording where it's protected to stay the way it is? Does it go back to the planning board? Does it go back to the TC? If a major builder goes in there and says, I'm going to petition for a variance to put another 50, 60, 100 homes here, could they do so?
Mike, I'll let you answer, but we have protections built into the deal with these guys, but Mike, you can speak more specifically about them.
Sure. Standard language is in there, as in most redevelopment agreements, that if there's a change in if there's a proposed change in the ownership of a particular portion or all of the project, or a change in the makeup of the entity that owns it, those are both subject to approval by the Township Committee as the redevelopment agency. So they would have to come and get that approved, and they have not made any such requests. As to the comment about a variance, no, they can't, because there's a declaration of covenants recorded against the property as a condition of entering into the redevelopment agreement, which essentially binds the redeveloper. And if there's a change in ownership for a particular phase, as you kind of state in a hypothetical, that developer would be bound to the terms of the redevelopment agreement, and that covenant against the land would bind them as well. So they would not be able to request some sort of alternative land use approval.
Okay. And then with the force main, say they don't make good on the bond. Technically, we own it, correct?
Well, the bond, I don't know what you mean by make good on the bond.
So in other words, if they don't
and
pay
again,
us back,
it's not really appropriate for me to
So
be
if
back
they
and
don't,
forth
if
with
they don't
you.
fulfill
So
their financial
I would
obligations, we
encourage
put
you
a
to
lien
ask
on the
your
property,
questions.
if that's what you're asking.
Okay,
And
'cause-
Mike, you can tell me if I'm wrong. If they don't fulfill their financial obligations, we can put a lien on the property as we would with any other domicile, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I mean, when you say make good, I mean, I think it sounds like you're referencing the phases of the project. That would be a default under the redevelopment agreement, which is one instance of parade of horribles. The other is if the recourse that you would have against the individual unit owners who are paying the special assessment, which can also be liened.
So the point being, Peter, is there are protections built in across the board on this stuff.
so we don't get stuck paying for it. We go after their assets.
Correct.
And we recoup our money that way.
Correct.
Okay. So there's not going to be any fear that one day that the main's already in and they defaulted, and the only way to recoup our money would be to let other developers tie into it.
Nope.
With the potential of nothing like that.
Nope.
Well, yeah, the redevelopment agreement provides for them demonstrating their financial ability to carry out the phases of the project, and there's a construction timetable that
Yeah.
they need to establish with the agreement of the township. So all that redevelopment council will handle to ensure that the township acts in accordance with that schedule.
And the bond for the road work, for the engineering, that doesn't cover, or does it cover 34, any state or highway road?
Are you,
Sorry, state
is
or
this
county road.
the safe streets
That
thing?
one.
Is it just township roads or is it county roads as well?
County and township, I'm not sure about 35 or 34, but I'll find that out if we have to. I'm not 100% sure on the state highways. I definitely know it's county roads because that's why the county's a partner in it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? The bond with the purchase of 600 houses. Eli and 520 looks like a minefield.
We are aware there is some kind of engineering problem with it. It is on our list to get fixed, and we're going to have the engineers actually go out there and redesign that front of that. But we don't know why it's happening. It's been repaved several times. We had the water company come out and check, and ultimately they found they claim there's no water under there. That's the problem. So we're going to have to have it ripped up and have the engineers make sure we put it in right so we don't have any more problems.
Yep. Right. And then another question is, a few times that I've been at these TC meetings, there's been a gentleman from Homedale Road that comes up here and he keeps saying that his neighbor owes $285,000 in back taxes. And I don't want to say he's silenced, but he never gets an answer. He walks out of here.
I've never received that question.
You've been here. Mike Danielle asks all the time about his neighbor.
I don't think I ever got that question.
A large amount of back, and I think it's 282 or 285. We've never got an answer.
I've never recalled getting that question.
We first of all.
Well, we can't comment on it anyway.
It wouldn't be appropriate for us to comment on an individual delinquent homeowner. What I can tell you is if someone is behind on their taxes, ultimately it's going to go to tax sale, and that's how the township makes itself whole. Somebody purchases a lien against that property. I would imagine if somebody's talking about one, that's one of many properties where that can happen.
Sure.
Luckily, it's a very low percentage in Homedale. Yeah, there you go. That's where you want to be.
Okay. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else? Motion to close?
Second.